Chapter 10:17. Bitch, you're courting death. A moment later, accompanied by a furious roar, Wang Zicheng charged over ferociously. Qin Feiyang saw that the situation was not good, so he quickly went to stop Wang Zicheng and comforted him. Brother Wang, calm down. You made me run naked twice. How do you expect me to calm down? Wang Zicheng shouted and pushed Qin Feiyang away. He continued to attack Wang Yuer. Qin Feiyang flashed again and stood in front of Wang Zicheng. He said with a smile, if you want to fight, shouldn't you put on your underwear first? Ha! Wang Zicheng was stunned and his face turned red. He quickly grabbed his underwear from Qin Feiyang and put it on. Brother Wang, I understand how you feel now, but you're a man after all. How can you be so calculative with a woman? Of course it's not your fault, but other people don't know. What if people say that you bullied the old and the young? Won't it damage the reputation of the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea? Why don't you give me some face and let it be a small matter? Qin Feiyang struck while the iron was hot and persuaded with a smile. Hearing this, Wang Zicheng glanced at Wang Yuer with a gloomy face. In the end, he retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang. Okay, I'll give you face today, but if there's a next time, it's useless even if God begs for mercy. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on her. There won't be a next time. Qin Feiyang laughed and then glared at Wang Yuer as if to say, if you don't behave, you'll have to pray for yourself. Humph. Wang Yuer snorted disdainfully and raised her hand. A light flashed in her palm and the Sage King ship appeared. Ha! When Wang Zicheng saw the Sage King ship, his face was suddenly filled with surprise. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, it's just a divine artifact. Why are you so surprised? Wang Zicheng didn't answer. Taking a step forward, he landed in front of Wang Yuer and looked the Saint King ship up and down, his body bursting with intense killing intent. Sweeping his gaze over Qin Feiyang's group of 3, he asked solemnly, where did you get this Saint King ship? Young Master Hao was shocked. How do you know it's called the Saint King ship? Wang Zicheng's gaze turned cold as he said, it was mine in the first place, so of course I know. Yours? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 looked at each other. What was going on? Young Master Hao looked at Wang Zicheng and said, but this is something that we auctioned off in the exchange pavilion. Bastard! You snatched my stuff, and now you're auctioning it off? That's too much. Wang Zicheng was instantly enraged. Qin Feiyang asked, what's going on? This matter started half a year ago. Half a year ago, I was piloting the Saint King in the inner sea in search of some ruins. But on the way, an old man suddenly appeared, saying that he took a fancy to my Saint King ship and asked me to sell it to him. The Saint King ship is not only a saint artifact, but it can also prevent the harassment of sea beasts, so of course I was reluctant to part with it. In the end, he attacked me. If I hadn't run fast enough, I'm afraid I would have lost my life. Wang Zicheng clenched his fists. As one of the Azure Sea's 10 heroes, it was a stain on his life that he was robbed. Qin Feiyang said in surprise, to be able to snatch it from you, his strength is not simple. I can't see through him. But I thought that he would cherish the Saint King ship, but I didn't expect that he would auction it off. This is outrageous. Don't let me see him again. Wang Zicheng gritted his teeth, his body full of hostility. Following closely, Wang Zicheng looked at Wang Yuer again, and a flattering smile appeared on his face as he rubbed his hands. That? No. Wang Yuer decisively refused. Wang Zicheng's smile stiffened, and he said angrily, I haven't said anything yet. If you say no, do you know what I'm going to say? Don't you want me to return the Saint King ship to you? Dream on. Wang Yuer snorted coldly, then waved her jade-like hand, and the Saint King ship immediately recovered and expanded. In the blink of an eye, a ship that was 100 meters long appeared in front of them, and a terrifying Saint Aura roared in all directions. Boom! Crash! Wang Yuer waved her hand again, and the Saint King ship fell rapidly, crashing into the sea below, causing huge waves to surge. Wang Zicheng said angrily, can you be careful? Don't break it. It seemed that he really cared about the Saint King ship. The Saint King ship is mine now, so what does it have to do with you? Besides, how can a saint artifact be broken so easily? Wang Yuer rolled her eyes at him, then swooped down and landed on the bow of the Saint King ship like lightning. It's just a saint artifact. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Qin Feiyang patted Wang Zicheng's shoulder and said with a faint smile, then quickly landed on the Saint King ship. I just want to say one thing. It's basically impossible to get back something that's in her hands. The most important thing is that we bought it fair and square, so we have no obligation to return it to you. Young Master Hao chuckled and also flew down, landing next to Qin Feiyang, and curiously looking at the layout of the ship. Wang Zicheng looked at the three people and the Saint King ship, and his eyes flickered. Do you want to come down? If not, we're leaving. Seeing that Wang Zicheng was still not coming down, Wang Yuer looked up at him and said impatiently. Wang Zicheng looked down at Wang Yuer, and an imperceptible light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Then he chuckled and also entered the Saint King's ship. I'm warning you, don't play any tricks. Wang Yuer said coldly to Wang Zicheng, then asked, which direction are we going? Wang Zicheng shrugged and said, you have more people, so how can I dare to play any tricks? Southwest. It's good that you know. Wang Yuer glanced at him, and with a thought, a dazzling white light burst out of the Saint King's ship, forming a barrier that enveloped the entire ship. As soon as the barrier appeared, the wind and waves that were surging from all directions were immediately isolated. Whoosh, whoosh. Following closely. The Saint King's ship was like a sharp arrow, breaking through the waves. So fast. Young Master Hao murmured. After all, it's a saint artifact, so of course it's fast. Let's go, I'll show you around. There are many places that I personally arranged. Wang Zicheng said with a smile. Qin Feiyang and young Master Hao immediately followed Wang Zicheng and wandered around the Saint King's ship. As for Wang Yuer, she sat at the bow and focused on steering the Saint King's ship. The Saint King's ship was made of a kind of black ancient wood. Although it was made of wood, it was extremely hard, and ordinary sharp weapons couldn't even scratch a mark on it. The 100-meter-long hull exuded a dazzling treasure light. And on the ship, everything was available, such as cabins, sails, anchors, and rudders. There was even a tea room, a restaurant, and a cultivation room for seclusion. However, although there were sails and rudders, they were basically useless, because driving the Saint King's ship required one's mind. How do you feel? Qin Feiyang and the other two walked out of the cabin, and Wang Zicheng smiled proudly. Very good. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then I'll take you to the tea room now. If that old man didn't touch it, there should be a jar of good wine. Wang Zicheng said. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, I won't go, you guys go ahead. He had no interest in wine. Okay, let's go. Wang Zicheng took young Master Hao and strode towards the stern of the ship. But suddenly, Wang Zicheng stopped again and turned to look at Qin Feiyang, saying, By the way, there's something I forgot to tell you. You can't open the portal in the internal sea. What? Qin Feiyang was shocked and asked, Can you use the image crystal to send messages? That's possible, but even if you can send messages, it doesn't mean much here. Wang Zicheng nodded, and then with a meaningful smile, he turned and left. The situation is not good. Qin Feiyang muttered. Indeed, as Wang Zicheng said, in the case of not being able to open the portal, the image crystal didn't mean much. Because, when they encountered danger, even if they used the image crystal to ask for help from the people of the Divine City, without the portal, the people of the Divine City would not be able to rush over immediately. Qin Feiyang quickly walked to Wang Yuer's side and whispered, You heard what he said, right? Wang Yuer nodded. Next, we will really be alone and helpless. We must be careful, especially this Wang Zicheng. I have a feeling that he hasn't given up on the Saint King's ship. Qin Feiyang warned. You don't need to remind me, I know. Wang Yuer said indifferently, with a sense of coldness that kept people thousands of miles away. Qin Feiyang shook his head with a wry smile and said, Can't we get along peacefully? Wang Yuer glanced at him and said coldly, Not interested. Qin Feiyang shook his head helplessly, too lazy to ask for a rebuff. He sat cross-legged on the side, took a battle chi pill, and closed his eyes to cultivate. The environment of the inland sea was extremely harsh. The deeper they went, the stronger the wind and waves, and the more sea beasts they encountered. However, even if those sea beasts came to besiege them, Qin Feiyang and the others didn't have to do anything because they couldn't break through the enchantment of the Saint King's ship. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. The group had gone deep into the inland sea. Along the way, They also encountered many explorers, and even saw some explorers mercilessly torn apart by sea beasts. But from beginning to end, Wang Yuer never stopped the Saint King's ship to help. It was not that she didn't want to help, but Qin Feiyong didn't allow her to. Because in such a cruel place, no one was a kind person. Once the other party found an opportunity, they would face eternal damnation. This morning, Wang Yuer was still driving the Saint King's ship as fast as lightning on the sea. Suddenly, she seemed to have found something, and her eyes narrowed slightly, staring at the sea directly ahead, and said, "Look, what is that?" Wang Zicheng and young Master Hao went to the restaurant that day, but they didn't find the so-called wine, so they also came to the deck of the bow and closed their eyes to cultivate. Hearing Wang Yuer's exclamation, the three of them opened their eyes in unison and looked up. They saw the sea in front of them was raging with strong winds and turbulent waves, and a behemoth was heading in their direction. But because it was too far away and the wind and waves were too strong, they couldn't see it clearly and could only see a rough outline. It seemed that it was also a huge ship. Why do I have an ominous feeling? Chapter 10:18. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at Wang Zicheng's expression and became nervous. Because Wang Zicheng was the most familiar with the internal sea among them. If even he felt that something was wrong, then they must have encountered something terrifying. The speed of the behemoth was also very fast. In less than 5 breaths, it had clearly entered the sight of the four. It was really a huge ship. It was about the same size as the Sage King, and it was as black as ink. It looked like a monster running wildly on the sea. On the mast of the ship, there was a flag that was fluttering in the wind. On it was a picture of a blood-red venomous snake. It looked rather frightening. On the other side of the flag, there was the word, 1. "Oh no, it's them." Quickly change direction. Head south. When Wang Zicheng saw the snake pattern, his face changed and he shouted anxiously. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at him in surprise. Wang Zicheng roared, "There's no time to explain, hurry up." "Hurry up." Qin Feiyong also immediately looked at Wang Yuer and said. After being together with Wang Zicheng for so long, this was the first time he saw him so panicked. Obviously, the origin of that huge ship was not simple. Seeing that Wang Zicheng did not seem to be joking, Wang Yuer did not dare to delay and immediately controlled the Sage King, making a sharp turn and flying south. At the same time, there was also a group of people gathered on the huge ship. There were men and women, old and young, and without exception, all of them looked fierce and dressed strangely, exuding a bandit aura. The strangest thing was that there was a snake pattern between their eyebrows, which was exactly the same as the pattern on the flag. At this moment, a middle-aged man with the head of a snake and the eyes of a mouse stood on the deck of the ship, looking at the sea ahead. Suddenly, he saw the Sage King, and a trace of surprise climbed up on his face and he shouted, "Boss, is that the Sage King?" "Sage King? Old Fifth Pan, are you dreaming? Wang Zicheng's Sage King has long been robbed. How could it appear in the internal sea? But then again, the dignified 10 heroes of the Azure Sea can't even keep the Sage King. It's really embarrassing." The others on the ship immediately laughed. Meanwhile, beside the rudder, a middle-aged man stood with his hands behind his back. He wore a black eye patch over his left eye. His upper body was bare, revealing his well-developed chest muscles. He wore a pair of black trousers, which were extremely tattered. He wore a pair of tattered straw sandals on his feet. His thick black curly hair fluttered in the wind, looking a little dirty and messy, but the aura he emitted was extremely strong. When he heard old Fifth Pan's voice, a trace of a sneer appeared on his face. "Am I really dreaming?" The man called Old Fifth Pan rubbed his eyes and looked at the Saint King ship again. His eyes trembled and he shouted angrily, "I'm not joking, that's really the Saint King's ship." The middle-aged man and the others were bewildered as they followed Old Fifth Pan's gaze. "Really? Why is the Saint King's ship here?" Everyone immediately started discussing, talking at once, and it was extremely noisy. "All of you shut up." The middle-aged man standing in front of the rudder shouted. The faces of the group of people changed, and they all shut their mouths. In an instant, the place fell into a dead silence. The middle-aged man looked at the Saint King's ship from afar. His eyes flashed with a sinister smile as he shouted, "I ask you, since the Saint King's ship has appeared, what should we do?" "Snatch it." Old Fifth Pan and the others immediately shouted. "Yes." Wang Zicheng can't protect the Saint King ship, so we'll snatch it. I'm sure that when Wang Zicheng finds out that the Saint King ship is in our hands, he will cry and beg us to return it to him." The middle-aged man laughed loudly. "Boss is wise. When that time comes, we can humiliate him. Yes, that guy relies on his forbidden technique and is extremely arrogant. I've long wanted to teach him a lesson. I've long disliked him. When the time comes, I'll make him crawl under my crotch." The group of people waved their fists and roared, full of bandit spirit. "Then let's go," the middle-aged man shouted, and the giant ship suddenly turned into a stream of light, breaking through the heavy waves and chasing after the Saint King ship. The Saint King ship. Qin Feiyang looked at the sea behind him and asked Wang Zicheng, "Brother Wang, what is the origin of that ship that makes you so afraid?" "Who says I'm afraid?" Wang Zicheng looked at him fiercely. Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "If you're not afraid, why do you want us to run?" "This?" Wang Zicheng coughed and said indifferently, "I just don't want to cause trouble." Qin Feiyang and the other two stared at him strangely, with a look of disbelief. Wang Zicheng was a little angry and said disdainfully, "If I can use my forbidden technique now, I can kill those small fries with a slap." Wang Yuer said disdainfully, "In the end, you're afraid of them now." "I say, don't you feel annoyed?" Wang Zicheng glared at her angrily. Enough. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stood between the two to mediate. If he didn't stop them, he was afraid that they would quarrel again. Young Master Hao asked, "Then who are they?" Wang Zicheng sighed and said, "That ship is called Viper No. 1. Like the Sage King, it's also a divine artifact. Those people on the ship are all Viper subordinates." Viper? The three were suspicious. Viper is also one of the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea. But unlike us, he has little interest in cultivation. His only interest is to develop poisons, especially deadly ones. That's why we call him Viper. And he likes this nickname, so he simply named himself Viper. Wang Zicheng shook his head. "So, he's an old poison?" Young Master Hao was surprised. Wang Zicheng nodded and said, "Anyway, his body is full of poison. If you accidentally touch his body, you may be poisoned to death. And the poisons he developed can't be cured by ordinary antidotes." "So horrible? Who dares to be with such a person?" Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other. Just hearing this, they couldn't help but feel creeped out. Wang Yuer asked, "What's his cultivation? Does he also have forbidden techniques?" Wang Zicheng said, "His cultivation isn't very strong. He's just an 8-star battle saint. As for forbidden techniques, each of the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea has a forbidden technique. This is the main reason why we're called the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea." Qin Feiyang was speechless. He thought that only Wang Zicheng and the young man had such terrifying forbidden techniques, but he didn't expect that the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea also had them. It seemed that these guys were not to be trifled with. At this moment, Wang Yuer seemed to have noticed something. She turned around and looked at the sea behind her. Her expression changed drastically and she shouted, "Oh no, they're coming! How troublesome! They must have recognized the Sage King battleship and want to take it." Wang Zicheng said, looking quite annoyed. Young Master Hao looked at Viper No. 1 and his pupils shrank. He said in surprise, "They're both saint artifacts, but why is Viper No. 1 faster than the Sage King battleship?" Like other saint artifacts, the Sage King battleship and Viper No. 1's power depends on the user's cultivation. The higher the cultivation, the faster the speed. The captain of Viper No. 1 is called One-Eyed Dragon. He's a 1-star combat emperor. Wang Zicheng said. "So strong? Then how did he become Viper's subordinate?" Young Master Hao was surprised. "Poison." Viper subordinates were basically captured by him with poison. And only he has the antidote for the poison he developed. In short, they were forced to do so because they had to die if they didn't submit to Viper. But it's undeniable that each of them is a master who kills without batting an eyelid. In short, Viper and his subordinates are very difficult to deal with. Wang Zicheng rubbed his aching forehead. Why was he so unlucky? Why did he have to encounter these bandits? "Listen up, stop the Sage King battleship if you don't want to die." A cold voice came from Viper No. 1. Wang Zicheng sighed helplessly and looked at Wang Yuer. "Forget it, don't run. We can't escape anyway. Wang Yuer frowned, and with a thought, the Saint King ship slowly came to a stop. Indeed. They didn't have any combat emperors and couldn't escape the pursuit of Viper number 1. It was better to stop and see what those people wanted. Swoosh. Soon. Viper number 1 broke through the waves and stopped beside the Sage King battleship. At the same time, Wang Zicheng turned around with his back facing Viper number 1. His eyes flickered and no one knew what he was thinking. Hey, there's a beauty. This beauty, can be said to be of the highest quality. Not bad, not bad. Little beauty, do you want to live? If you want to, then accompany us, Lei Lei. The people on Viper number 1 looked as if they hadn't seen a woman for a long time. They surrounded the side of the ship and stared at Wang Yuer. Their mouths were also full of obscenities. They were a group of bandits. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and stepped forward to protect Wang Yuer behind him. He glanced at those people and said in a deep voice, "Please respect yourself." Ha! Looking at the back in front of her, Wang Yuer was stunned. This bastard was protecting her? Respect. Hee, little brat. Is this your first time in the inland sea? Let me tell you, women are rare in this place, especially such a beautiful woman. Be sensible and hand over the Sage King battleship and that woman immediately. Otherwise, I will bury all of you in the sea. The one-eyed man walked over and stared at Qin Feiyong with a sinister smile. Hee. One-eyed man, I haven't seen you for only a few months and you've become so powerful. Impressive. At this moment, Wang Zicheng, who had his back facing Viper number 1, suddenly laughed. In fact, he was hesitating whether to escape alone. After all, he couldn't use the forbidden technique casually now. But after thinking about it, if he ran away like this, wouldn't he lose the chance to take back the Sage King battleship? Moreover, he knew the one-eyed man and the others. Once the Sage King battleship fell into their hands, it was basically impossible to get it back. So after thinking about it again and again, he spoke. Who are you? Why do you look familiar? Chapter 10:19. Hee. Wang Zicheng grinned and slowly turned around. What? It's you. One-eyed dragon and the others were shocked as if they had seen a ghost. Wang Zicheng glanced at them one by one and finally stopped at one-eyed dragon. He smiled and said, "Who gave you the guts to rob my Sage King ship?" This. Wasn't the Sage King ship stolen? One-eyed dragon asked in a panic. Wang Zicheng said playfully, "Yes, it was stolen, but can't I take it back?" Of course. One-eyed dragon nodded repeatedly. Wang Zicheng smiled and asked, "Do you want us to hand over the Sage King ship now?" "No, we don't dare. This is a misunderstanding. Because our original intention of robbing the Sage King ship was to help you get it back. We definitely won't dare to take it for ourselves. Don't you think so?" One-eyed dragon said. Yes. That's right. The group behind One-eyed Dragon quickly nodded in agreement. Wang Zicheng sneered. "Then shouldn't this young master thank you? We're all on the same side. Don't be so polite. Well, since the Sage King ship has been returned to its rightful owner, we won't disturb you any longer. Goodbye." One-eyed Dragon cupped his fists and said, then drove Viper number 1 away in a panic. It's settled just like that? Qin Feiyong and the other two were stunned. They don't know my current situation. Otherwise, a bloody battle would have been inevitable. Don't look anymore. Let's go quickly. Otherwise, they'll notice something and we'll be done for. Wang Zicheng urged. Wang Yuer nodded and immediately drove the Sage King ship to the south. It's really bad luck to meet Wang Zicheng. Viper number 1. One-eyed Dragon stood at the side of the ship, looking angrily at the Sage King ship that was gradually disappearing. The others also nodded. If it were anyone else, they would have dared to force it, but they knew Wang Zicheng's methods too well. If they forced it, they would be the ones to suffer in the end. Suddenly, Old Fifth Pan said suspiciously, "Boss, why do I feel that Wang Zicheng is a little different today?" How is it different? The one-eyed man was taken aback and asked suspiciously. In the past, if we had tried to steal his Saint King ship, we wouldn't have been able to get away so easily. But today, he didn't even do anything and just let us go? Isn't it strange? Old Fifth Pan said. Maybe it's because he's in a good mood today. Do you see the woman beside him? He likes beautiful women the most. In front of women, I have to maintain my poise. The one-eyed man said calmly. He then took out an image crystal and infused his battle chi into it. A short while later, a young man appeared from the void. He was about 1.8 meters tall and had regular facial features. He could be considered a talent, but the skin all over his body was emitting a strange green color. Especially his eyes. They were green like a snake's eyes, and they were suffused with a cold light. Greetings, Lord Viper. Everyone on the ship kowtowed, including the one-eyed man. What is it? Viper asked. His cold gaze caused the group of people to tremble in fear. The one-eyed man said respectfully, "There's something that I need to report to you. Wang Zicheng has entered the inland sea and has taken back the Saint King ship." Viper frowned slightly and said, "I heard that the person who took the Saint King ship is unfathomably strong. How did he take it back?" "I don't know." The one-eyed man shook his head. Viper frowned and turned to the side, asking, "Big Bull, you were with Wang Zicheng some time ago. Have you heard of this?" Big Bull? The one-eyed man and the others were surprised. Next to Viper, another young man walked out. "So it's him. Why is he with Lord Viper?" The one-eyed man and the others' pupils shrank. They were extremely wary. The young man lowered his head and pondered for a moment. He looked at Viper and shook his head. "Never heard of it." "Then that's strange. According to Wang Zicheng's character, if he really took back the Saint King ship, he would definitely send us a message to show off. Could it be that he has changed?" Viper frowned. His green eyes flickered with an inexplicable light. "Has he changed? Do you think that's possible?" The young man sneered, then looked at the one-eyed man and said, "Is there anyone else on the Saint King ship?" "Yes. 2 men and a woman." The one-eyed man nodded and waved his hand. Battle chi surged and condensed into the shadows of Qin Feiyang and the other two. "It's him." The young man looked at Qin Feiyang's shadow and frowned. Viper asked, "Do you know him?" "Yes. I met him in the outer sea with Wang Zicheng. Wang Zicheng seemed to care about him." The young man said, "Forget it. How could someone like Wang Zicheng care about others? He must have a purpose." Viper sneered. "That's what I think too." The young man nodded, then asked the one-eyed man again, "Are you sure you saw the Saint King ship?" "I'm sure." The one-eyed man nodded. "Did he cause trouble for you?" The young man asked again. "No." The one-eyed man shook his head. "He didn't cause trouble for you?" "That's surprising." The young man was surprised, then smiled and said, "That's right, with his current condition, he can't wait to hide when he sees you. How could he dare to cause trouble for you?" "What do you mean?" Viper was slightly taken aback and looked at the young man suspiciously. The one-eyed man and the others were also puzzled. The young man said, "When we were in the outer sea, he continuously used forbidden techniques for 50 to 60 breaths." "What? Does he want to die?" Viper was shocked. No wonder he was so easy to talk to today. It's because he doesn't dare to use forbidden techniques again. I was really scared by him just now. The one-eyed man also came to a sudden realization, and a trace of anger crept onto his face. Suddenly, the green light in Viper's eyes intensified and he smiled sinisterly. "This is a good opportunity." "What do you want to do?" The young man frowned. "Usually, we all have forbidden techniques. Even if there is a conflict, we don't dare to act rashly. However, now that he doesn't dare to use forbidden techniques, he's equivalent to a poisonous snake without fangs. Naturally, we have to get rid of him. Even if we can't get rid of him, we have to force him into a corner and let him have a taste of death." Viper smiled sinisterly. "That's interesting." The young man smiled playfully. When he saw that the young man had no intention of objecting, Viper immediately looked at the one-eyed man and ordered, "Go after him immediately. I want to see his corpse if he's dead or alive, understand?" "Understood." The one-eyed man nodded and turned off the image crystal, shouting, "Lads, let the hunt begin. Kill." Instantly, everyone roared and their killing intent shook the skies. On a certain island, on a mountain peak, the burly young man looked at Viper and said impatiently, "Have you thought about what I told you?" Viper played with the ring on his index finger and smiled faintly. "What's the hurry? Let me think about it for a few more days." I don't have time to waste with you. You have to give me an answer immediately or I'll find someone else to work with. The young man said. Viper raised his eyebrows and stared at the young man. His green eyes flashed with a dangerous signal. Don't look at me like that. I'm not a coward. The young man became more and more impatient. Okay. I agree to work with you. But after we get the elixir fire, we have to make it clear in advance how we're going to split it. Viper smiled sinisterly. How do you think we should split it? The young man frowned. Viper's eyes flashed and said, You can have the elixir fire, but you give me your forbidden technique. Do you think that's possible? The young man sneered and said, I think the best way is to have a fair one-on-one duel after we get the elixir fire. The winner gets the elixir fire. Okay, we'll do as you say. Viper chuckled, but there was a trace of bone-chilling coldness in his smile. He did not hide it at all. The young man did not care at all. Because he was not afraid of any of the 10 heroes of Qinghai, even if it was the old poison in front of him. Splash! On the sea, the Sage King vessel was like a shooting star catching up with the moon. Wherever it went, waves would surge. Qin Feiyong had been observing the sea behind them. Seeing that Viper No. 1 had not returned, he looked at Wang Yuer and said, You can slow down a little. Don't consume too much energy. Reviving the Sage King vessel was the same as reviving other divine artifacts. It required an endless supply of battle qi. In other words, battle qi was the fuel of the Sage King vessel. And the faster it was, the faster it would consume battle qi. Therefore, this extreme speed could not be maintained forever. Otherwise, Wang Yuer would be in danger of running out of battle qi. Wang Yuer glanced at Qin Feiyong. This time, she did not quarrel with Qin Feiyong. She slowed down by half and then took a battle qi pill to replenish her battle qi. She looked at the sea in front of her thoughtfully. Qin Feiyong looked at her suspiciously, then turned to Wang Zicheng and asked, Brother Wang, have you taken a prolongation pill? No. Wang Zicheng shook his head. It can't be? Qin Feiyong was surprised. How could he have never taken a prolongation pill before? Not only me, but also the 10 heroes of Qinghai have never taken a prolongation pill. Because we all know that once we take a prolongation pill, we will lose our last guarantee. After all, we can only take a prolongation pill once in our lives. And if one day we are really in a desperate situation, we will die. Wang Zicheng said. That's true. Qin Feiyong nodded. Everyone would be in a desperate situation. If there was a prolongation pill, even if Wang Zicheng used a forbidden technique and consumed all his life, he could still use a prolongation pill to prolong his life before he died. But once he took it in advance, there would be no way out when he was in a life-and-death situation. Therefore, whether it was for Wang Zicheng or the other 10 heroes of Qinghai, the prolongation pill was the last guarantee. Unless it was a last resort, they would never take it. Well, suddenly. Chapter 10:20. What's wrong? Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at her in confusion. Wang Yuer's eyes flickered. In the end, she gritted her teeth and turned to Qin Feiyong. You stood in front of me just now. Are you concerned about me? Am I? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Yes. Before Wang Yuer could answer, young Master Hao and Wang Zicheng shouted as if they wanted to see the world in chaos. Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at the two of them. Couldn't they tell that he was playing dumb? The two of them chuckled. It was obvious that they were here to undermine him. Qin Feiyong looked at Wang Yuer helplessly and said with a smile, Every man will protect a woman. Even if I didn't stand out just now, the two of them would definitely stand out. It's just that I was one step ahead of them. Don't mind it too much. We won't do that. Young Master Hao quickly waved his hand. Then, he winked at Wang Zicheng and said, Right? Wang Zicheng understood and nodded. Of course. Haven't you heard of the saying that the hunter will shoot the bird that sticks out? There are so many of them. You're courting death. I say, are the two of you interesting? Are you trying to undermine me? Qin Feiyong said angrily in his heart. So, we'll undermine you. Bite us. The two of them hooted in their hearts, feeling smug. I'll bear with it. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath and looked at Wang Yuer again with a smile. Really, don't mind it too much. After all, we're companions. We should take care of each other. Is that so? It seems that I'm thinking too much. Wang Yue murmured. Then, she turned to look at the sea and her expression turned cold again. Young Master Hao sighed helplessly and said telepathically, Brother Mu, do you really not understand? Are you playing dumb? Qin Feiyong was stunned. He turned to look at him suspiciously and asked, What do you mean? Young Master Hao sighed. It seems that you really don't understand. With his EQ, do you expect him to understand? Wang Zicheng said in disdain. What are you trying to say? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. Young Master Hao patted his forehead and said to himself, Oh my God, I'm about to collapse. All right, I'll tell you the truth. Actually, my sister. Kill. However, at this moment, deafening battle cries rang out from the sea behind them. The four men's faces changed and they quickly turned around to look. They saw Viper number 1 rushing towards them like a bolt of lightning. Damn it! Why are they back? Wang Zicheng was incomparably furious. Wang Zicheng, you're good. You actually managed to scare him. The one-eyed man stood at the prow of the ship, looking at the Saint King's ship from afar with a sneer on his face. Wang Zicheng's heart trembled. Could it be that these people had already sensed his presence? However, he did not show anything on his face. He coldly snorted and said, Are you guys trying to provoke this young master? You're right. I am provoking you. If you have the ability, then come and kill me. The one-eyed man laughed maniacally. Wang Zicheng's mood instantly sank to the bottom when he saw the one-eyed man acting so unscrupulously. Why aren't you saying anything? Continue. I'm waiting. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but if you can't activate the forbidden technique, you're just a piece of trash. The one-eyed man laughed disdainfully. When a tiger falls, it will be bullied by a dog. Wang Zicheng secretly sighed and sneered. Who told you that this young master can't activate the forbidden technique? Do you believe that this young master will activate the forbidden technique right now and destroy all of you? Still pretending? Is there any meaning to it? All right, I'll let you die with understanding. This is what the great barbarian bull said himself. The one-eyed man said. Damn it! Wang Zicheng was infuriated. Why was this bastard so talkative? Suddenly, his eyes flashed slightly as he said, So, the great barbarian bull is with Viper now? That's right. The one-eyed man said. Wang Zicheng's face darkened. What's wrong? Qin Feiyong secretly asked. Wang Zicheng said in a low voice, You don't know, when these two people walk together, nothing good will happen. Wang Yue secretly said, Let's not talk about this for now, quickly think of a way to escape their pursuit. We definitely won't be able to escape, unless a war king comes to help us control the emperor. However, it's not impossible to kill them. Wang Zicheng said word by word, killing intent flashing in his eyes. It can indeed be done. Qin Feiyong nodded. Are you too crazy? Young Master Hao looked at the two of them in shock. There were at least 200 people on Viper 1. Other than the one-eyed man, the rest of them were all war saints. How could they do it with just the 4 of them? Crazy. Qin Feiyong and Wang Zicheng looked at each other, their eyes filled with a dense coldness. Wang Zicheng jumped up, stood at the top of the mast, looked at the one-eyed man and shouted, I'll ask you one last question. Is it Viper's order for you to chase after us? The one-eyed man sneered. Lord Viper only said one sentence, if you're alive, if you're dead, you're dead. Haha. What a good if you're alive, you're dead, you're dead. Wang Zicheng laughed out loud. Is that guy scared silly? He must be. If he doesn't dare to use the forbidden technique, he's nothing. That's right, even if I'm a 9-star war saint, I can easily kill him. Trash. The people on Viper number 1 started to laugh at him. I'm trash? You want to kill me? Yes, if I'm alone, I can only run for my life. But now I have a trump card with me. Viper, do you think you'll win just because I don't dare to use the forbidden technique? You're too naive. This time, not only will you fail to kill me, but you'll also lose a lot of your men and Viper 1. Wang Zicheng muttered to himself, then landed in front of Qin Feiyong like a flash of lightning. He looked at Wang Yue and young Master Hao and transmitted his voice. You two drive the Sage King's ship and continue forward. What about you? Young Master Hao asked. Wang Zicheng and Qin Feiyang looked at each other and said in unison, "Of course, we'll teach them a lesson." Wang Zicheng said, "Come, follow me to the cabin." Qin Feiyang nodded. The two of them strode into the cabin. Qin Feiyang immediately activated the concealment art, walked out of the cabin again, left the Sage King's ship, and silently flew toward Viper 1. They were not deliberately mystifying by doing this. They were deceiving the others. Because this way, the one-eyed man and the others would think that they had been staying in the cabin and would not be on guard. As expected. Seeing the two of them enter the cabin and not appear again, the one-eyed man and the others immediately laughed at them. Wang Zicheng, aren't you very powerful? Why are you hiding now? Come out quickly, kowtow to us and apologize. If we're in a good mood, we might let you go. Don't even think about escaping. Viper 1 is much faster than the Sage King's ship. We'll catch up with you in less than 10 breaths. At that time, you bunch of trash will be finished. The one-eyed man stood at the bow and cursed wantonly. He was extremely arrogant. In the past, he could only flatter Wang Zicheng and never thought that there would be a day when he would turn the tables. Stepping on the Azure Sea's 10 heroes under his feet was something that countless people in the Internal Sea dreamed of doing. However, the Azure Sea's 10 heroes were like 10 overlords that could not be violated. But he had done it now. So he felt very relieved. Not only the one-eyed man, but the others on Viper 1 also felt very good. However, what they did not know was that Qin Feiyang and Wang Zicheng had quietly landed on the bow of Viper 1. And they were standing in front of the one-eyed man. That old fifth pan urged, "Boss, to avoid long delays, hurry up. Don't worry, they won't be able to escape today." The one-eyed man smiled confidently, then his eyes flashed and he said, "When we catch Wang Zicheng, I will make him kneel and beg for mercy. And that woman, she's simply a stunner. It will be fun to fuck her. Later, no one is allowed to compete with me, do you hear me? No. How dare we compete with you for a woman, boss? But boss, we've been with you for so long, you can't forget us." Old Fifth Pan smiled obsequiously. Yes, we've been holding back for a long time." The others immediately nodded in agreement. "Don't worry. When I'm about to die, I'll definitely let you satisfy your cravings." The one-eyed man waved his hand heroically. "Thank you, boss." Everyone was overjoyed and stared at Wang Yu's back, their eyes full of obscene smiles. "You're courting death." At the same time. Hearing their conversation, Qin Feiyang's eyes surged with killing intent. These people were simply scumbags. Their lives would only be a waste of food. He looked at Wang Zicheng and said in a deep voice, "Do it." Wang Zicheng nodded and his killing intent was aroused. He directly stabbed the one-eyed man's lower abdomen with the dagger, instantly destroying his chi. "Ah!" The one-eyed man immediately let out a painful howl. "What's going on? Boss, why are you injured? Who did it?" Viper number 1 immediately became restless. Everyone glanced around, and both their eyes and faces were full of surprise. Then, more cries of agony could be heard. The people on Viper number 1 fell down one by one. "What's going on? Who is it? Come out, don't hide." The others panicked and roared again and again. The one-eyed man's chi was destroyed, and without the support of his battle chi, Viper number 1 immediately stopped. What's going on? Hearing the commotion from behind, Wang Yu and young Master Hao immediately turned around and glanced at Viper number 1, feeling a little puzzled. "I see." Suddenly, young Master Hao laughed. Wang Yu glanced at the cabin and didn't understand. Young Master Hao smiled and said, "They're not in the cabin at all. They've activated the invisibility skill and gone to Viper number 1. "I see." Wang Yu also understood. She looked at Viper number 1 and whispered, "What a cunning guy." This can't be considered cunning. If they didn't deceive others first, it wouldn't have gone so smoothly. So to speak, I should say that they're smart. After seeing their means, I finally saw through myself. Whether it's my brain, combat experience, or fearless mentality, I'm far inferior to them. Young Master Hao laughed at himself. If it weren't for Qin Feiyang and Wang Yu to protect him, he wouldn't have been able to enter the inland sea with his own ability. He would have been killed in the outer sea. Chapter 1021. Wang Yuer smiled with relief. This pampered young master had finally come to his senses. It was indeed a wise decision for the chief pagoda master to let him come to Qinghai to gain experience. While the two were talking, the killing on Viper number 1 had also ended. Except for the one-eyed man, no one was left alive. Corpses were everywhere and blood flowed along the deck. It was like an Azura hell. It was terrifying. They're all dead. What the hell is going on? Are there ghosts? Looking at his living companions all lying on the ground, the one-eyed man muttered to himself. His eyes were full of horror. I said, don't mess with me. Suddenly, a bone-chilling voice entered his ears. Wang Zicheng. How is this possible? When did he come on the ship? Where is he now? The one-eyed man's body trembled. He hurriedly looked around, but except for the corpses on the ground, he saw nothing. Seeing how arrogant you were before, I thought you had a lot of ability. Turns out you're just a useless trash. The mocking laughter sounded again. As soon as the voice fell, Wang Zicheng and Qin Feiyong appeared in front of the one-eyed man at the same time. You? The one-eyed man looked at the two dumbfounded. Wang Zicheng joked. Do you want to ask why you can't see us when we're right in front of you? The one-eyed man nodded. This was too strange. They came and went without a trace. Were these two ghosts? If you want to know, I won't tell you. Tell me, how do you want to die? Wang Zicheng sneered. The one-eyed man's eyes trembled. He hurriedly knelt on the ground and begged. Sir, I don't dare any more. Please let me go this time. Hey, is this interesting? Didn't you just say that you want me to kneel and beg for mercy? You even said that you want me to crawl between your legs. Why are you kneeling now? Where's your backbone? Get up quickly. I'm just a trash. I can't accept your kneeling. Wang Zicheng had a friendly smile on his face. He bent down and helped the one-eyed man up. Don't. One-eyed dragon hurriedly knelt and took a few steps back. He said with a crying face. Sir, can you stop torturing me? Yes, it's all my fault. I'll slap myself. Smack. The one-eyed man raised his hand and slapped his own face again and again. Yes. That's it. Don't stop. If you dare to stop, yours truly will destroy you. Wang Zicheng took out the image crystal. What are you doing? Qin Feiyong frowned. Of course it's to send a message to Viper. Wang Zicheng smiled playfully as his battle chi surged into the image crystal. Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered. In the end, he retreated to a corner where the image crystal could not reach. Wang. A moment later, the shadow of the Viper appeared. Hi. Wang Zicheng greeted him warmly. Looking at the one-eyed dragon who was slapping him crazily, then looking at the corpses on the ground, Viper's eyes immediately darkened. You didn't expect this, did you? Not only did I not die, I even killed so many of your subordinates. How is it? Are you satisfied with this gift? Wang Zicheng grinned. Viper's pupils shrank as he said in a low voice. How did you do it? That's none of your business. Answer me. Are you satisfied or not? Wang Zicheng asked aggressively. Viper's green eyes also shot out a threatening cold light as he said, You're too vicious. He had killed his men and even sent him a message. This was clearly a provocation. That's not right. How am I vicious? Didn't you start it first? Why are you blaming me now? Wang Zicheng looked depressed. Viper clenched his fists and his face was extremely ugly. Oh Viper, I can't believe you have such an expression. It's rare. Wang Zicheng laughed mockingly. Don't you go too far. Viper shouted angrily, his body full of murderous intent. So what if I bully you? Bite me. Forget it. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Now make your choice. Do you want Viper number 1 or the one-eyed dragon's life? Remember, you can't negotiate. You can only choose one of the two. Wang Zicheng shook his finger and chuckled. Hearing this, the one-eyed dragon immediately looked up at Viper with pleading eyes. Wang Zicheng raised his eyebrows and glanced at the one-eyed dragon. Did I ask you to stop? Slap. The one-eyed dragon's body trembled as he slapped the one-eyed dragon again. His face was smashed into a bloody mess. Viper glanced at the one-eyed dragon and then at Viper number 1. He then looked at Wang Zicheng and said, I want the one-eyed dragon. Although Viper number 1 was a sacred artifact, the one-eyed dragon was a genuine combat emperor. Between a combat emperor and a sacred artifact, he would definitely choose a combat emperor. He had heard of it. The one-eyed dragon was instantly moved to tears. Wang Zicheng was not surprised by Viper's choice. He smiled brightly and said, "You really have a loyal person. But I'm sorry, I was just teasing you." Before he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his leg and kicked the one-eyed dragon's head. With a crack, the one-eyed dragon's head exploded on the spot. He fell to the ground and died. Wang Zicheng, Viper was furious. His eyes were filled with green light, like an enraged beast. "Does your heart ache? Don't worry, this is just the beginning. Since you want to play, I will definitely play with you until the end. As for this Viper number 1, I will gladly accept it." Wang Zicheng smiled proudly. Then, he waved his hand and the bodies of the one-eyed dragon and the others all flew out and fell into the sea. Viper's eyes were cold as he said word by word, "Wang, I swear I will never let you go." "You're welcome at any time." Wang Zicheng grinned and said, "If you are really angry, you can come and settle the score with me now. I will give you the coordinates." "Bastard, don't be so proud," Viper roared. This was no longer a provocation, but a direct humiliation. "Am I that proud?" "All right, where is that big bull?" Wang Zicheng asked. "Gone." Viper gritted his teeth and said. Wang Zicheng shook his head and sighed. "That's a pity, I didn't have the chance to see you like this." "Wang Zicheng." Viper gritted his teeth and shouted out Wang Zicheng's name. His tightly clenched fists made cracking sounds. It was obvious that he was extremely angry. "I'm here. Do you have any orders?" Wang Zicheng became more and more excited as he looked at Viper suspiciously. Viper was about to explode. His eyes were filled with anger, but he suddenly took a deep breath and said, "It's too early to be proud. Wang Zicheng, let's wait and see." After saying that, the illusory figure collapsed and dissipated. "Haha." Wang Zicheng immediately laughed and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Did you see his face? It's so angry that it's about to change shape." "Good, too good." Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Killing someone else's subordinate, snatching their sacred artifact, and even sending a message to show off. This guy was really wicked. After a while, Wang Zicheng stopped laughing and glanced at Viper 1. He leaned over to Qin Feiyang and said with a sneaky smile, "Brother, can we discuss something?" Qin Feiyang was about to speak, but at this time, Wang Yu and young Master Hao left the Sage King and flew over. After landing in front of the two, young Master Hao immediately asked, "How are you?" "Very good." Wang Zicheng smiled proudly. Young Master Hao looked at the two with admiration and said, "I really admire you more and more. If the two of you join forces, I believe that the alchemy fire that is about to be born will be easy to obtain." "What a coincidence." "That's what I think too," Wang Zicheng said. Qin Feiyang smiled but did not say anything. Some things were better left unsaid. It was enough to know it in one's heart. Wang Zicheng glanced at the three and coughed dryly. "You came at the right time. I have something to discuss with you." "What?" young Master Hao asked. "The Sage King has been with me for hundreds of years. I really can't bear to part with it. Can you return the Sage King to me for the sake of our acquaintance? Of course I won't take it for free. This Viper 1 will be my compensation for you." Wang Zicheng said, his eyes shining. "Sure. It's a sacred artifact anyway. It doesn't matter." Young Master Hao nodded without hesitation and smiled. "No." Qin Feiyang and Wang Yu said at the same time. The two of them looked at Wang Zicheng with a rather gloomy expression. "What's wrong?" Young Master Hao looked at the two of them in confusion. Wang Zicheng also put on an innocent look and said, "Why are you looking at me like that? I really don't mean any harm." Qin Feiyang said lightly, "You'd better use that to deceive others." "What do you mean?" Wang Zicheng frowned. "You really know how to play dumb. Okay, since you want me to make it clear, I'll make it clear for you. Since Viper 1 has been stolen, Viper will definitely not let it go. In other words, this Viper number 1 is a hot potato. Whoever obtains it will have to face the vengeance of Viper. You want to transfer Viper's anger to us. That's a good plan." Unfortunately, not everyone is a fool who can be played by you. Qin Feiyong sneered. What a shrewd guy. Wang Zicheng muttered, feeling quite annoyed. He thought that the three of them would agree since he was so sincere, but he didn't expect them to see through his little trick at the first moment. When young Master Hao heard Qin Feiyong's words, he suddenly realized that there was a secret behind it. Don't even think about the Sage King. As for this Viper one, it's up to you whether you want it or not. Let's go. Qin Feiyong said coldly and flew toward the Sage King with Wang Yue and young Master Hao. Wang Zicheng stood alone on Viper one, looking at the backs of the three with a gloomy face. Sigh. I suddenly feel so tired. Young Master Hao sighed. Is that so? Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Yes. I really don't understand. Why must everyone scheme against each other? Can't people trust each other more? Look at Wang Zicheng. Every word, every action, and even every look is hiding a conspiracy. Isn't it tiring? Young Master Hao frowned. Actually, you can't blame him. Because this is the way of the world. Even if he doesn't scheme against others, others will scheme against him. In short, to survive in this world, you have to be careful of everyone. Qin Feiyong said. I don't like this kind of world. Young Master Hao shook his head, feeling annoyed. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. I don't like it either. Does Wang Zicheng like it? He definitely doesn't like it either, but we have no choice. We have to face it. All right. I've learned another profound lesson. Chapter 1022. Should I try to snatch the Saint King battleship? On Viper number 1, Wang Zicheng was struggling. He couldn't let go of the Sage King ship, but he had some concerns. This concern was Wang Yue. He didn't care about Qin Feiyong and Mr. Hao's strength, but Wang Yue's cultivation was on par with his. Of course. If it were someone else of the same level, he wouldn't care either. Because he was confident that he could suppress the other party even if he didn't use the forbidden technique. This was his confidence as one of the 10 heroes of Qinghai. But after these days of getting along with Wang Yue, he faintly felt that her strength might not be inferior to his. Without using the forbidden technique, he really didn't have the confidence. Even if he used the forbidden technique, it was hard to guarantee that Wang Yue didn't have other means to compete with the forbidden technique. After all, Wang Yue came from the Divine City. Although he didn't know who Wang Yue was, it wasn't difficult to judge from the arrogance that Wang Yue usually showed that she shouldn't be inferior to Qin Feiyong. Therefore, he didn't dare to take it lightly. Forget it. There's still a long way to go. I'll slowly find an opportunity in the future. In the end, Wang Zicheng, who hesitated for a while, gave up the idea of snatching the Sage King ship for the time being. Then, he cut his finger and dripped blood on Viper number 1 to bind it. After the blood contract was completed, he put away Viper number 1 and chased after Qin Feiyong and the other two. At the same time he said angrily, You three, now we're companions. Is it appropriate for you to leave me like this? Wait for me. At the same time, on a certain island. Wang Zicheng, you bastard, how dare you kill my people, I'll never let you go. On a mountain peak. Viper stood with his hands behind his back, and a cold light surged in his eyes. Furthermore, his body was surrounded by a dark green mist. The flowers and trees in the surroundings all withered and withered. Not far away, a few saint beasts fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth and twitching crazily. Obviously, this mist contained a strong poison. Is it useful to talk tough? If you want revenge, take action. Suddenly, a hoarse voice sounded. Who? Viper's face changed, and he quickly glanced around. There was actually someone who could hide from his senses and enter this island without making a sound? Whoosh! High in the sky, a green-robed old man descended from the sky and landed in the void in front of Viper. He had white hair and a white beard, a benevolent appearance, and his green clothes were spotless, causing him to seem like an expert that lived in seclusion and emanated an otherworldly aura. What a powerful aura! When Viper looked at the green-robed old man, his pupils constricted. As one of the Blue Sea's 10 heroes, he had seen all kinds of experts. However, he couldn't tell the cultivation level of the old man in front of him. Let's make a deal. The green-robed old man sized up Viper and smiled faintly. What deal? Viper frowned. The green-robed old man said, "Help me kill someone. After you're done, I'll give you a good fortune." Viper was stunned and asked, "Kill who?" "A person called Ancestor Mu." The old man in cyan clothes waved his hand as Qin Feiyong's figure appeared in the air with his battle chi. Viper sized up Qin Feiyong's silhouette. His brows gradually furrowed as he asked, "What's his cultivation like? Where is he now?" "He's a 2-star battle saint. He's with Wang Zicheng now. Wang Zicheng was able to kill your men and take Viper 1 away because of him," the green-robed old man said. Viper said, "That's impossible. I was talking to Wang Zicheng just now. I didn't see this person at all. This person is very smart. He probably didn't want to attract your attention. That's why he didn't stand with Wang Zicheng when you were communicating. By the way, I'll tell you one more thing. Wang Zicheng didn't take back the Sage King. It was this person's companion who was controlling it." The green-robed old man smiled. "Damn it!" Viper's eyes flickered, but then he asked in confusion, "Since you know him so well and he's so strong, why don't you do it yourself?" It is indeed very easy for this old man to kill him. However, there is a reason why this old man cannot do it personally. As for the reasons, don't ask. Just answer me. Will you do it or not? The green-robed old man said. "No." Viper didn't even think about it and shook his head. The green-robed old man was stunned. He frowned and said, "Why don't you ask me what I'll give you first?" Viper sneered and said, "Compared to the so-called good fortune, I cherish my life more." "Why do you say that?" the green-robed old man asked with interest. "You don't have to pretend anymore. If you don't dare to kill him, how can he be a simple person? You want me to be cannon fodder just because of some benefits? You've underestimated me." Viper sneered. The Azure Sea's 10 heroes are indeed extraordinary. However, it's not up to you whether you want to do it or not. The green-robed old man chuckled. However, Viper saw a trace of coldness in the old man's smile. He turned around without hesitation and wanted to escape. Boom. However, a terrifying Emperor's aura imprisoned him in the void. This Emperor aura. It's at least a 5-star combat Emperor. Who are you? Viper's face turned pale as he shouted angrily. Whoosh. The green-robed old man didn't answer. He walked up to Viper and took out a transparent jade bottle from his cosmos bag. The jade bottle was half filled with a black liquid. "What are you doing?" Viper panicked when he saw the jade bottle. Although he didn't know what it was, he knew that it wasn't anything good. "Aren't you famous for using poison in the Azure Sea? I'll give you a chance now. If you can get rid of this poison in 3 days, I'll let you go. However, if you can't do it, you'll have to complete this task for me." The green-robed old man smiled and poured out a drop of poison. Then, he waved his arm and the poison entered Viper's mouth. Next, the green-robed old man withdrew his aura and took a few steps back. He looked at Viper quietly. The effect was immediate. Viper immediately lay in the void and howled miserably. Wisps of black mist quickly climbed up from his green skin and even spread to his eyes and lips. How is this possible? I've been testing poisons for years and am immune to all poisons. How can it poison me? What kind of poison is this? Viper muttered to himself in shock. There's always someone better than you. You're just a frog in a well. The green-robed old man put his hands behind his back. There was a faint smile on his old face, but there was a hint of contempt. A frog in a well. How dare you say that I, Viper, am a frog in a well? Ha ha! Hearing the green-robed old man's words, Viper looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. The panic from before disappeared. What are you laughing at? The green-robed old man raised his eyebrows. I'm laughing at your stupidity. If you use other methods to deal with me, I might not be able to do anything. However, using poison to deal with me is the worst decision you've ever made in your life. Viper grinned at the green-robed old man and quickly took out a jade bottle from his Chenkuan bag. The jade bottle was as thick as a thumb and half filled with liquid. However, it wasn't black. It was milky white and sparkling. It faintly emitted a sacred aura. The green-robed old man looked at the jade bottle curiously. Do you know what this is? This is an antidote that I've spent 10 years and countless effort to create. It's called sacred water. Let me tell you, This sacred water is more useful than the antidote pill. It can even be called a poison without poison. After saying that, Viper poured out a drop of sacred water and placed it into his mouth. Can it really be detoxified without poison? The green-robed old man smiled faintly. Of course. I'm very confident in the sacred water. Viper nodded with certainty. Then let's wait and see. The green-robed old man chuckled and there was a hint of anticipation in his eyes. Viper looked at him gloomily and sat cross-legged in the air. He closed his eyes and sensed the poison in his body. Time passed bit by bit. Impossible. Suddenly, Viper opened his eyes and they were filled with disbelief. There was a hint of disappointment in the green-robed old man's eyes. He shook his head and said, "It seems that your so-called sacred water isn't very useful." "No. This is the sacred water that I've spent 10 years to create. How can it be useless?" "Yes, it must be that there's not enough." Viper shook his head and took a few more drops of sacred water. However, it still did not detoxify the poison. "Why is it like this? Why? I don't believe it." Viper went crazy and drank the entire bottle of sacred water. However, it was still useless. Is it really not working? I've spent 10 years doing something meaningless. He did not want to accept this fact, but the truth was right in front of him. He slowly collapsed and sat in the air like a pile of mud. His eyes were dim and lifeless. Obviously, this result was a huge blow to him. The green-robed old man looked at the jade bottle in his hand and strode over. He took the jade bottle and sniffed it. Next, he crushed the jade bottle and grabbed a piece of it. There was some sacred water on the piece. He placed it by his mouth and licked the sacred water on the piece. He then tasted it carefully. A moment later, the green-robed old man's eyes lit up. He lowered his head and looked at Viper. He smiled and said, "Your 10 years of hard work did not go to waste." Viper looked at him in bewilderment. The green-robed old man said, "This sacred water can indeed cure hundreds of poisons. It can even barely cure the poison of the bloodthirsty scorpion." Viper said, "Then why can't I cure your poison?" "It's very simple. That poison is even more terrifying than the poison of the bloodthirsty scorpion." The green-robed old man said. Boom. Hearing that, Viper's body and mind trembled as if he had been struck by lightning. It was even more terrifying than the poison of the bloodthirsty scorpion. How could anyone in this world develop such a terrifying poison? All right, this old man can see that you're at your wit's end. So stop struggling and obediently do as this old man says. After it's done, this old man will give you the antidote. After the green-robed old man finished speaking, he took out another jade bottle. Inside it was a red liquid. He handed it to Viper and said, "This can be considered the antidote, but it can only temporarily suppress the poison in your body. Keep it, don't die before completing the mission." Viper looked at the green-robed old man and then at the jade bottle. In the end, he raised his hand and took the jade bottle. "This old man will wait for your good news," the green-robed old man said with a smile. Then, he turned into a stream of light and disappeared from Viper's sight. "Damn bastard!" Viper cursed angrily. His expression was incomparably ferocious. Then, he retracted his gaze, swallowed a drop of red liquid and took out an image crystal. Bas. Soon, an enchanting and gorgeous woman appeared and bowed. "Greetings, Lord Viper." Viper said gloomily, "Inform everyone to search for Wang Zicheng's whereabouts." "What do you mean, Lord?" The gorgeous woman was surprised. "Just do as I say. Once you find him, inform me immediately," Viper said. "Yes." The gorgeous woman responded respectfully, and the phantom dissipated. "Wang Zicheng, Ancestor Mu. And that old thing. All of you remember this. Anyone who provokes me, Viper, will not have a good ending." Chapter 1023. Roar. Splash. Inland sea, southwest. In the sky above the sea beasts roared continuously. Some were as big as mountains, while others were as small as boulders. They exuded a monstrous aura. The sea below was rolling and deafening. Their ferocious eyes were fixed on a giant ship below. It was the Sage King. At the bow of the ship, Wang Yuer stood in the wind. Her skin was as smooth as ice, and her black hair danced in the wind. She looked like a fairy who was about to ride the wind. Qin Feiyang, young Master Hao, and Wang Zicheng sat aside and meditated. It had been 5 days since they snatched Viper 1. In these 5 days, other than the harassment of various sea beasts, it was considered peaceful. The Sage King also sailed into the depths of the inland sea. According to Wang Zicheng, they were only 2 days away from the location of the alchemic fire, and they encountered more and more sea beasts. Roar! Accompanied by deafening roars, the sea beasts from all directions pounced on the Sage King. However, Wang Yuer did not panic at all. She did not even look at them as she drove the Sage King forward. Buzz! Bang! Bang! When the sea beasts pounced on them, a light curtain suddenly appeared around the Sage King. Immediately after, the sea beasts were sent flying one after another. The Sage King was a divine artifact. Unless an emperor beast appeared, no one could break into this forbidden area and hurt Qin Feiyang and the other 3. An hour passed. Wang Yuer suddenly looked to the left and whispered, "There's an island there." Qin Feiyang and the other 2 opened their eyes and looked up. There was indeed an island a few miles away. It was very large, with a diameter of about 50 to 60 miles. However, the island was barren and filled with rocks. In the center of the island, there was a huge rock that was emitting a dark red light. It was like a blood-stained magic sword that towered into the sky. Wang Zicheng's pupils constricted slightly as he said in a low voice, "Don't go near that island." "Is there a problem?" Young Master Hao was puzzled. "Yes. That island is called Demon Island. None of the creatures that enter the island survive. It's one of the 3 most dangerous places in the inland sea." Wang Zicheng. "So dangerous?" Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were shocked. "Yes. It's said that there's a mysterious power on the demonic island that can rob the life force and lifespan of living beings. And once you enter, it's like entering a prison. There's no way out. Don't think that I'm trying to scare you. Once I saw a 2-star combat emperor with my own eyes. He thought that he was strong enough to break into the Devil Island despite the advice of his companions. In the end, his lifespan was slowly robbed by that mysterious power until he finally died in despair." Wang Zicheng said in a low voice. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 looked at each other. Even battle thearchs couldn't survive after going in. Wasn't that too terrifying? If you don't believe me, you can go closer and take a look. The island is filled with the skeletons of humans and sea beasts. Wang Zicheng said. Young Master Hao asked, "Will it be dangerous if we get closer?" Wang Zicheng shook his head. "As long as you don't step onto the island, your life won't be in danger." Young Master Hao's spirits were lifted. He turned to Wang Yuer and said, "Sister, let's go and take a look. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers." Wang Yuer shook her head. With a thought, the Sage King ship slowly turned around and headed toward the Devil Island. Seeing the Sage King ship heading toward the Devil Island, the sea beasts that were chasing after them all stopped in the void. Their eyes that were originally flickering with a fierce light were instantly filled with fear. Dong! Immediately afterward, they dove into the sea one after another and disappeared. Seeing the sea beast's reaction, Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. It seemed that this Devil Island was really not a good place. Soon, the Sage King ship arrived in front of the Devil Island. There was only a distance of half a mile between the 2. Wang Yuer didn't dare to go any closer and stopped the Sage King ship. At this point, not a single sea beast came out to cause trouble. To be precise, there was not a single beast in the sea around the Devil Island. Other than the sound of the wind and waves, there was dead silence. Wang Zicheng stood up and glanced at the Devil Island. He warned again, "Don't go in with the mentality of a fluke." In fact, even without his warning, Qin Feiyang and the other 2 didn't dare to go in. Because they had already seen the skeletons on the Devil Island. As long as they could see, there were piles of white bones. This could no longer be described as shocking. It was a mountain of corpses and a sea of bones. It was a Jura hell. It made one's scalp hair stand on end. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang seemed to have thought of something. He turned to look at Wang Zicheng and said, "You just said that there is a mysterious force on the island that can plunder the vitality and lifespan of living beings?" "Yes." Wang Zicheng nodded. Qin Feiyang said, "You also said that the Devil Island is like a cage that you can't get out of?" "Yes." Wang Zicheng nodded again. Qin Feiyong looked at the Devil Island again with a hint of surprise in his eyes. He thought of the Black Dragon Mountain Range. If what Wang Zicheng said was true, then this place was exactly the same as the Black Dragon Mountain Range. Wang Yue suddenly looked to the side and said in surprise, "Hey, look, there's another island over there." Qin Feiyong and young Master Hao raised their heads and looked. There was indeed another island a few miles away from the Devil Island, but it was much smaller than the Devil Island, only about 5 or 6 miles wide. On the island, the faint traces of trees and sea beasts could be seen. Young Master Hao said in surprise, "Brother Wang, that island can't also be a savage island, right? How can there be so many savage islands? That's just a very ordinary island. There are some sea beasts on it. However, there used to be a ruin on that island, but it has already been swept away by us." Wang Zicheng smiled slyly. Qin Feiyong said, "Are there many ruins in the inner sea?" "Of course there are. Especially in the deep sea. If you're lucky, you can find one in half a year. However, there are powerful emperor beasts lurking in the deep sea. Ordinary people don't dare to explore. Sometimes, I'll go down to look for it on a whim," Wang Zicheng said. Qin Feiyong nodded. Wang Zicheng's words revealed a very important piece of information. Emperor beasts usually lurked in the deep sea. In other words, emperor beasts rarely appeared on the surface of the sea. As long as they didn't go to the bottom of the sea, they wouldn't encounter any fatal danger. Wang Zicheng said, "Let's not waste time. Let's hurry." Wang Yue nodded and steered the Sage King toward the southwest. Qin Feiyong had been paying attention to the demonic island, and a strange light flickered in the depths of his eyes. After the Sage King left, a figure suddenly rushed out of the small island next to the demonic island. It was an old man with unkempt hair and a dirty face. He was in his 50s, wearing a shabby black robe and holding a shabby snake-headed walking stick in his hand. The black-robed old man looked at the Sage King from afar. His eyes, hidden under his hair, emitted a faint green light, giving off a cold feeling like the eyes of a snake. Moreover, there was a snake tattoo between his eyebrows, just like the one-eyed man. "Hee, I've finally found you." Suddenly, the black-robed old man chuckled, looking rather ferocious. Then he took out an image crystal. Bas. Soon, the illusionary figure of a glamorous woman appeared. The gorgeous woman asked, "Black Snake, is there any news?" The black-robed old man said, "There is news. They are near the demonic island and should be preparing to go to the Blood Dragon Island." "Isn't the Blood Dragon Island where the alchemy fire was born?" "It seems that they are all aiming for the alchemy fire," the gorgeous woman said. The black-robed old man nodded. "Okay, wait for me there. I'll meet up with you right away." After the gorgeous woman finished speaking, the image quickly dissipated. About 100 breaths later, the gorgeous woman arrived in the sky above the demonic island. Accompanying her were more than 200 burly men, all of whom looked fierce and ferocious. Between their eyebrows, there was a tattoo of a venomous snake. Obviously, they were all the subordinates of the snake. Boom. Next, the gorgeous woman waved her hand, and a huge ship appeared out of thin air and landed on the sea below, setting off huge waves. The shape and size of the ship were exactly the same as the snake number 1, and it also emitted a terrifying saint aura. The only difference was that the flag on the mast had the word, 2. "Let's go." The gorgeous woman waved her hand and led the group of burly men to land on the deck of the ship one after another. Then the gorgeous woman glanced around and soon saw the black-robed old man standing in the sky above the island. The gorgeous woman shouted, "Black Snake, where are your men?" The black-robed old man chuckled and waved his hand. Another huge ship rose into the air from the mountain stream on the island below. The huge ship looked exactly the same as Viper number 1. The only difference was the flag on the mast, which had the word 3 printed on it. There was also a group of people standing on the ship, all of whom looked fierce. It was obvious that they were not kind people. The black-robed old man leaped and landed on the bow of the ship. Then he steered the ship to land on the sea and galloped toward the gorgeous woman. After the two groups of people met, the black-robed old man immediately looked at the gorgeous woman and said disdainfully, "That one-eyed man is really useless." Not only did he lose his life, but he also lost the snake number 1. "What do you mean?" The gorgeous woman was suspicious. "I saw them with my own eyes just now. 2 9-star battle saints, one 1-star battle saint, and one 2-star battle saint. What can they do with their weak cultivation? The black-robed old man laughed sinisterly. So weak? The gorgeous woman was surprised and then asked in confusion, if they are so weak, how did one-eyed man die? The black-robed old man said, he must have been careless and was crippled by Wang Zicheng. That makes sense. After all, it's not that Wang Zicheng can't activate the forbidden technique, he just can't activate it casually. The gorgeous woman nodded and said thoughtfully, that's right. At the critical moment of life and death, Wang Zicheng will definitely not wait for death. So when we catch up with them later, we can't be careless like one-eyed man, the black-robed old man said. The gorgeous woman smiled coldly and said, you don't have to tell me that. I know. Then let's go. The black-robed old man's eyes flashed coldly. The ship under his feet suddenly turned into a stream of light and broke through the waves. Chapter 1024. Crack. The sky of the inland sea was filled with dark clouds, lightning, and thunder every day. Rumble. The two giant ships were like two monsters, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, running wildly on the surface of the sea. We've caught up. The black-robed old man looked at the sea ahead, and his pupils suddenly constricted, shooting out rays of cold light. On the horizon ahead, there was a giant ship moving forward. It was the Sage King. The gorgeous woman glanced at the Sage King and said with a smile, don't kill Wang Zicheng later. Why? The black-robed old man raised his eyebrows. He used to look down on me when he saw me. This time, I want him to take the initiative to lie in front of me and lick my toes. The gorgeous woman's red lips curled up slightly, filled with a wild and lascivious aura. When the burly men on the two ships heard this, they couldn't help but stare at the gorgeous woman's red lips and majestic twin peaks, their mouths dry. What a promiscuous bitch! However, the black-robed old man cursed in his heart, his old eyes full of disgust. Then, he looked up at the Sage King and asked, does Lord Viper have any other instructions? Yes. No matter what the final result is, that man called Ancestor Mu must die. The gorgeous woman said. Ancestor Mu? The black-robed old man muttered and smiled sinisterly. It's hard for him not to die after encountering us. The Sage King. There's Saint Aura. Wang Yu suddenly turned her head and glanced at the sea behind her. When she saw the two giant ships, her expression immediately changed. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang and the other two were surprised and immediately turned to look. Not good. Wang Zicheng's expression also changed. Young Master Hao said in surprise, those two giant ships seem to be saint artifacts? It's not like, it's actually one. Wang Zicheng said in a deep voice. What's going on? Qin Feiyang frowned. Wang Zicheng said, do you see the two flags on the ship? Qin Feiyang and the other two fixed their gazes and immediately saw the pattern of the viper on the flag. They are the Viper's minions? Young Master Hao said in surprise. Yes. Viper has a total of 3 saint artifacts. They are Viper 1, Viper 2, and Viper 3. And these 3 sacred weapons are controlled by the one-eyed dragon, the black snake, and the red snake respectively. You all know one-eyed dragon, and black snake is the black-robed old man standing on Viper number 3. He is the cruelest of the 3. Anyone who falls into his hands will be tortured to death. And the gorgeous woman on Viper number 2 is Red Snake. This woman has a lustful nature. Her greatest pleasure is to seduce men, and then when they're having sex, she'll slit their throats when they're unprepared. Wang Zicheng said. So cruel? Young Master Hao was dumbfounded. Wang Zicheng said, most importantly, both of them are 1-star combat emperors. All of them. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. If there was only one 1-star combat emperor, they could still use the old method to assassinate him at lightning speed. But 2 1-star combat emperors wouldn't be so easy to deal with. Even the black snake and the red snake were sent out. It seems like Viper is really going against me this time. Anyway, we're in trouble this time. Wang Zicheng rubbed his head that was about to explode and was extremely vexed. Young Master Hao raised his eyebrows and lowered his head to ponder. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and looked at Wang Yu. Sister, why don't you use charm arts to make them kill each other or drive them away? Charm arts? Wang Zicheng was startled and looked at Wang Yu suspiciously. Wang Yuer ignored Wang Zicheng and glanced at the people on Viper number 2 and number 3. She said, for people like them who are filled with desire, charm arts can indeed easily control them, but it's only limited to combat saints. The black snake and the red snake are both combat emperors. I'm afraid I can't do it. Can't you control them by force? Young Master Hao asked. No. But it should be possible to confuse them a little. Wang Yuer said. Qin Feiyang said, let's not take the risk and think of another way. Wang Zicheng said, there's no other way but to run. Then run. Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. If they fought head-on, even if they could kill these people, they would definitely pay a heavy price, so it was better to just run away. With his concealment art, it was very easy to escape. He looked at Wang Yuer and said in a low voice, quickly put away the Sage King's ship. In front of a powerful enemy, Wang Yuer did not dare to be negligent. She soared into the sky like lightning and waved her jade-like hand gently. The Sage King's ship immediately shrank. Qin Feiyang and the other two also left the Sage King's ship and landed beside Wang Yuer. Soon, the Sage King's ship shrank to the size of a palm and disappeared into her Qi Sea. At the same time, Viper number 2 and number 3 flew over, flanking Qin Feiyang and the other three. Brother Zicheng, we haven't seen each other for so long. You didn't even come to see me. You're too much. The gorgeous woman immediately looked at Wang Zicheng and said in a coquettish voice. Qin Feiyang and the other two burst out laughing. Brother Zicheng? Isn't this too mushy? Goosebumps appeared on their skin. Wang Zicheng's expression was also quite awkward. He looked at the gorgeous woman helplessly and said, Hongxi, we're all old friends. Can't you stop disgusting me? Brother Zicheng, you're so annoying. I like you so much, how could I bear to disgust you? Brother, come with me, okay? I promise I'll make you happy to death. Although her words were so explicit, the gorgeous woman did not feel ashamed at all. Instead, she kept throwing flirtatious glances at Wang Zicheng. Wang Zicheng's face darkened and he said angrily, I say, woman, can't you be more reserved? Brother. Don't pretend. I know you like women like me. The gorgeous woman was not angry at all. Her eyes were full of lust, and she deliberately puffed out her chest, as if she was waiting for him to taste her. Oh my God, kill me, I'm going crazy. Wang Zicheng roared. That painful look on his face made people not know whether to laugh or cry. Don't, if you die, what will I do? I've already made up my mind to marry no one but you. The gorgeous woman looked at him pitifully. This woman is really extreme. Young Master Hao laughed secretly. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen Wang Zicheng so embarrassed. Qin Feiyang glanced at Wang Zicheng and could not help but laugh secretly. Then he looked at Hongxi and Black Snake, and his eyes suddenly flashed. Mississippi, he looked at Hongxi. What's wrong? What's the matter, little brother? The gorgeous woman looked at Qin Feiyang, and her eyes rippled. Little brother? Qin Feiyang's face twitched, and he could not help but feel disgusted. Why did he have the urge to beat this woman up? He suppressed it and said with a smile, Miss, since you're here for Wang Zicheng, we'll give Wang Zicheng to you. Please let us go. Hey, what do you mean? Are you selling your friend for glory? Wang Zicheng immediately glared at him. I have no choice. Look, there are so many of them. We don't even have a chance to escape, so I can only hand you over. Besides, Hongxi is not bad. She has a good figure and a good face. Most importantly, she likes you so much. Don't be ignorant of your good fortune. Qin Feiyang said. I'm ignorant of my good fortune? Wang Zicheng was about to explode, and smoke was coming out of his head. It was fine if they did not help him, but they actually said that. Wasn't this adding fuel to the fire? Actually, thinking about it, Brother Mu is right. Brother Wang, don't run away. Live a good life with Hongxi. Young Master Hao also wanted to see the world in chaos. He patted Wang Zicheng's shoulder and said with a smile. You bastards. Wang Zicheng gritted his teeth and glanced at the two. He was about to go crazy. Brother Zicheng, you can't say that about these two little brothers because they are telling the truth. The gorgeous woman scolded Wang Zicheng. Yes. They are telling the truth, and it's all my fault. Wang Zicheng nodded repeatedly. He wanted to cry but had no tears. What was this? It was simply killing him. At this time, the black snake who had been watching coldly looked at the red snake impatiently and said, "Are you done?" The gorgeous woman said, "What's the hurry? They are already turtles in a jar. They can't escape." Can't escape? Humph. Don't forget that your opponent is Wang Zicheng. The black-robed old man secretly shouted. The gorgeous woman raised her eyebrows and glanced at Wang Zicheng. Then she looked at Qin Feiyong and said with a smile, "I'm sorry. You are wrong. We are not here for Wang Zicheng." Qin Feiyong and the other two were stunned. What did she mean? Not for Wang Zicheng? Then for whom? Was she here for them? That was impossible. Although the death of the one-eyed man was related to them, it was mainly because of Wang Zicheng. Besides, Viper One was also with Wang Zicheng. You are really not here for me? Wang Zicheng himself was also dumbfounded. No. The gorgeous woman shook her head. That's good, that's good. Wang Zicheng immediately patted his chest. He was really shocked. Seeing the gorgeous woman dawdling, the black-robed old man finally lost his patience. He looked at Wang Zicheng and sneered, "Although we are not here for you, you will not be able to escape death today." Is that so? Wang Zicheng narrowed his eyes and stared at the black-robed old man. His eyes gradually turned cold. The black-robed old man smiled coldly and glanced at Qin Feiyong. He asked, "You are Ancestor Mu?" Young Master Hao was secretly shocked and sent a sound transmission. "How does he know your name?" Qin Feiyong guessed. It's very likely that the young man told Viper, and then Viper told them. Finished. He looked at the black-robed old man and nodded. "Yes, I am." "It's good that you admit it." The black-robed old man's eyes suddenly flashed with a hint of ferocity. His emperor's might erupted and firmly imprisoned Qin Feiyong and the other three. Wait. Qin Feiyong's expression changed and he hurriedly shouted. The black-robed old man said, "Any last words? Then say it quickly." Qin Feiyong glanced at the black-robed old man and the gorgeous woman and said in a deep voice, "I have never met Viper, let alone had a grudge with him. But why does he want to kill me? And why does he want to kill me? We don't know the reason either. Even if we know, we don't care. What we need to do is to complete the order given to us by Lord Viper." The gorgeous woman shrugged. Qin Feiyong furrowed his brows. What was going on? You are going to die anyway. Why are you still worrying about this? Besides, it is your honor to be killed by Lord Viper. Do you understand? The black-robed old man smiled coldly, killing intent surging in his eyes. Then he waved his arm and a roaring battle chi rushed out, turning into a torrent that rushed toward Qin Feiyong and the other three. Honor? It's just a rotten venomous snake. You really think he is the ruler of the internal sea? How ridiculous. Go back and tell him that I will find him sooner or later. Qin Feiyong smiled coldly and then shouted to Wang Zicheng, "Break his emperor's might." Let's go. Break for me. Wang Zicheng suddenly roared, and a terrifying aura rolled in all directions. The emperor's might that imprisoned the four immediately relaxed a little. Catch me. Chapter 1025. What? Where are they? In the sea, strong winds howled and huge waves covered the sky. The black-robed old man, the gorgeous woman, and the hundreds of burly men stood on the two giant ships in a daze. A moment ago, the four of them were still in front of them, but the next moment, they seemed to have disappeared without a trace. Had they seen a ghost? I don't believe that there are ghosts in this world. They must be hiding somewhere. Come out now. The black-robed old man suddenly shouted. His emperor's aura surged and roared in all directions. How could he not be angry when the duck in his mouth flew away just like that? Hurry up! Feeling the terrifying emperor's aura, Wang Zicheng urged anxiously. Because once the emperor's aura hit them, the invisibility technique would be broken. At the same time, his heart was filled with resentment and helplessness. He was one of the 10 heroes of the Blue Sea, but he had to run for his life? How miserable! Qin Feiyong was also very anxious. However, he was only a 2-star battle saint. How could he compare with the black-robed old man? The emperor's aura surged and shrouded the four of them. Crack! The invisibility technique immediately collapsed. There they are. On Viper number 2, a burly man immediately discovered the 4 of them. You're quite capable. The gorgeous woman also put away her previous contempt, and her entire body was filled with a murderous aura. She waved her arm and released her battle chi, which turned into a huge wave and spread across the sky. It rushed toward the 4 of them aggressively. Didn't I tell you before? Don't underestimate them. The black-robed old man glared at her and also activated his battle chi. With a shocking murderous aura, he charged toward the 4 of them. What should we do? Young Master Hao asked. This was not the Divine City, nor was it a game. This was a real battle. Similarly, this was the first time he was chased by a battle saint and the first time he was faced with such a desperate situation, so he did not know what to do. Wang Yuer was also at a loss. Although she was very powerful, she had not experienced any life-and-death situations like young Master Hao. However, Qin Feiyang and Wang Zicheng were very calm, because this kind of situation was nothing out of the ordinary for them. Go to the bottom of the sea. The 2 of them shouted in unison. Only by going to the bottom of the sea could they have a chance of survival. Boom! Wang Zicheng's aura erupted as he forcefully broke through the black-robed old man's emperor's aura. Together with Qin Feiyang and the other 2, he dove into the sea without looking back. The moment they left, the battle chis of the black-robed old man and the gorgeous woman whizzed past their original positions. That was close. Young Master Hao patted his chest, his face full of fear. If they had been just a little bit later, they would definitely have been smashed into pieces. Wang Zicheng shot a glance at young Master Hao and secretly asked, Brother, how is your relationship with this person? Why do you ask? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Wang Zicheng said, One look and you can tell that he used to be someone who lived like a prince. If our relationship isn't that good, I suggest we leave him behind so that he won't drag us down. No. Because my mission this time is to protect him. Qin Feiyang thought. What? He actually made you protect him? Then it seems that his identity is not simple. Wang Zicheng was surprised. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, Don't talk nonsense. Black Snake and Red Snake will definitely not let this go. We have to think of a way quickly. I really have no choice. Let's just surrender. Wang Zicheng transmitted his voice helplessly. Can we survive if we surrender? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. No. Wang Zicheng said. Then what's the point? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him, pondered for a moment, and transmitted his voice again. How about this? You activate the forbidden technique and take us away. After that, I'll give you a 6-veined life prolongation pill. What? Wang Zicheng's expression froze. A 6-veined life prolongation pill? Did he hear it wrong? Qin Feiyang said, I'm not lying to you, I really have a 6-veined life prolongation pill. The more veins there were, the higher the effect of the life prolongation pill. 6 veins could extend one's life for at least a few thousand years, so he thought that this could completely let Wang Zicheng put down his worries. However, Wang Zicheng didn't agree and transmitted his voice. Brother, although we are in a desperate situation now, I really don't want to take the life prolongation pill until the last step. In fact, this was all an excuse. The most important thing was that he didn't trust Qin Feiyang. As Qin Feiyang said, the 2 of them were just strangers who met by chance. How could he bet his life on him? And this point naturally couldn't escape Qin Feiyang's sharp observation. He transmitted his voice angrily. Can't you trust me for once? You actually saw through it. You really can't be compared with the 2 of them. Okay. As long as you give me the life prolongation pill first, I'll activate the forbidden technique and take you away. Wang Zicheng said to himself. They naturally referred to Wang Yuer and young Master Hao. Qin Feiyang frowned. Now, he really couldn't take out a 6-veined life prolongation pill because he hadn't refined it yet. And to refine a 6-veined life prolongation pill, he had to go to the ancient castle. He couldn't take these 3 people to the ancient castle. Of course. He could also take out the nether devil flame and the pill furnace and refine it outside, but he didn't have the time to do so now. Because the black-robed old man and the gorgeous woman had already chased after them. Don't waste your energy. You can't escape. It's better for you to surrender obediently. Hundreds of people were filled with killing intent. Wherever they went, an undercurrent would surge. the black-robed old man and the gorgeous woman's speed was even more astonishing. As War Emperor, it was only a matter of time before they caught up with Qin Feiyong and the other three. Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered. Running like this wasn't a solution at all. He had to find an opportunity to fight back. Suddenly, he gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice to the three of them. Their primary target is me. I'll lure them away. You guys find an opportunity to slip away. That's a good idea. Wang Zicheng's eyes lit up as he nodded. No. Young Master Hao shook his head decisively. Facing 2 War Emperor and hundreds of War Saints, even if Qin Feiyong had heaven-defying abilities, there was no hope of survival. This was a dead end. Wang Yuer did not say anything, but her eyebrows were tightly knitted, indicating that she did not agree with it in her heart. Qin Feiyong turned to look at young Master Hao and Wang Yuer. His eyes were resolute as he said in a deep voice. Now is not the time to be sentimental. Protecting our lives is the most important thing. Finished. Qin Feiyong then looked at Wang Zicheng and said secretly, Brother Wang, I'll have to trouble you to take care of them first. No problem. Wang Zicheng nodded. He did not object to Qin Feiyong's suggestion, not because he was a selfish person, but because he understood that this was the only way. Otherwise, everyone would have to die, so he might as well take a gamble. And with regards to Wang Zicheng's attitude, Qin Feiyong did not have the slightest complaint in his heart. Because it was wise. If it were him, he would also agree. Without any hesitation, Qin Feiyong took out the water avoidance pearl and resolutely turned around and rushed in the other direction. Young Master Hao immediately looked at Wang Zicheng and said angrily, Why did you agree? Aren't you sending him to his death? It's better for him to die alone than for all of us to die. Also, don't be so naive. The outside world is not as beautiful as you think. Killing is everywhere. If you continue like this, you'll lose your life sooner or later. Besides, since he dared to make such a suggestion, it means that he must have a certain degree of confidence. What you need to do is listen to him and not cause trouble for him. Wang Zicheng snorted coldly, took out a water avoidance pearl, and left with the 2 of them without looking back. Red Snake, what should we do? Seeing Qin Feiyong and Wang Zicheng go their separate ways, the black-robed old man was somewhat at a loss. Lord Viper said that Ancestor Mu must die, so we can only give up on Wang Zicheng and the others first. Let's go. The gorgeous woman waved her hand, and the group immediately turned around and chased after Qin Feiyong. They really caught up. Sensing the rapidly approaching Emperor pressure behind him, Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with a grim look. The gorgeous woman and the others had caught up, which meant that they were not joking before. Viper's target was him. Viper. That old poison seemed to be tired of living. He scanned the front, then suddenly turned in the air and rushed down to the bottom of the sea. Still running? You really won't cry until you're in the coffin. The black-robed old man mocked. Finally, Qin Feiyong entered the bottom of the sea and landed on a huge rock covered in mud. He looked up at the group and said indifferently, You're all here? To tell the truth, I was afraid that you wouldn't come. Are you joking with us? The black-robed old man swooped down and stood above Qin Feiyong, his face full of contempt. Joking? I'm not in the mood. I'm just buying time for Wang Zicheng and the others. Now that they've escaped far away, my goal has been achieved. Qin Feiyong smiled. You can still smile? You're really not afraid of death. The black-robed old man grinned maliciously. You're so sure that I'll die? Qin Feiyong asked. Haha. Is he scared out of his wits? I think so. Otherwise, why would he say such childish words? Lord Black Snake, he's looking down on you. You have to torture him well. Don't let him die too quickly. The group of battle saints behind the black-robed old man and the gorgeous woman immediately roared with laughter, their faces full of ferocity. The gorgeous woman looked at Qin Feiyong with a sneer. A mere 2-star battle saint dared to be so arrogant in front of Black Snake. Wasn't he courting death? Of course, I won't let him die too easily. The black-robed old man smiled malevolently. His emperor's aura was like a waterfall, enveloping Qin Feiyong. In his opinion, killing Qin Feiyong was just a matter of waving his hand. However, just as the emperor's aura was about to imprison Qin Feiyong suddenly disappeared without a trace. It's useless. I could let you out before, and I can do the same now. The black-robed old man sneered. His emperor's aura rolled in all directions, but he did not see Qin Feiyong appear. What's going on? The black-robed old man was dumbfounded. The gorgeous woman and the others were also stunned. Chapter 10:26. At the same time. Inside the castle. Hearing the black-robed old man's words, Wolf King sneered. Those minions really think that you're a fish on the chopping board? Lu Hong laughed. They don't know Qin Feiyong's identity, otherwise, they wouldn't be so careless. Qin Feiyong shook his head and sighed. No matter what, I still prefer to act alone. Yes. If you're alone, you won't have so many concerns. But then again, young Master Hao and Wang Yu are two burdens. They didn't help us along the way, but they've been dragging us down. Especially that Wang Yu she's always going against you. If it were someone else, they would have already left them behind and let them fend for themselves. The two-winged snow eagle said, its eyes full of disdain. Qin Feiyong smiled. You can't say that, they're born to be useful, they just haven't shown their worth yet. You're still speaking for them, is there something wrong with your brain? The two-winged snow eagle rolled its eyes. Don't you know him? He's always been a good guy, otherwise, how could so many women like him? Wolf King said with disdain. In the face of the two-winged snow eagle and Wolf King's ridicule, what else can Qin Feiyong say? He can only helplessly shake his head. Lu Hong looked at Wolf King and Qin Feiyong. Actually, the alchemy fire is only secondary. The main thing is to improve your cultivation as soon as possible. After all, the time before the miracle opens is getting shorter and shorter. The pangolin thought for a moment and nodded. That's true, if we're not strong enough, we can't compete with the Mujia. After hearing Lu Hong and the pangolin's words, Qin Feiyong's heart also became heavy. Carefully calculating, it's been more than 3 months since they entered Qinghai, that's to say, there's only 1 year and 9 months left before the miracle opens. And to compete with the Mujia, at least the cultivation of a war emperor. Breaking through to the combat the arch realm in 1 year and 9 months. Just thinking about it made him feel unconfident. However, according to his current cultivation speed, as long as he was willing to work hard, he might be able to do it. Wang. Suddenly, the image crystal began to vibrate. Qin Feiyong took it out, and Yan Wei's shadow quickly appeared. Looking at Yan Wei's smiling face, Qin Feiyong asked with a smile, did something good happen? Yan Wei said, after this period of hard work, I have already gained Fu Anshan's trust. Qin Feiyong stared blankly for a moment before he smiled and said, this is indeed a good thing. Then, did you find out what kind of information Fu Anshan has on the Divine Python Tribe's chief? No. These days, Fu Anshan hasn't contacted the chief of the Divine Python Tribe. I didn't dare to ask too much, lest I arouse his suspicion. Yan Wei said. Qin Feiyong nodded his head. And you can't take the initiative to ask. Yan Wei continued. However, although I didn't find out about this, I entrusted Fu Anshan to find out about the origins of the 5 colors fruit. What is it? Qin Feiyong asked immediately. Yan Wei said, that fruit is called the 5 colors glass fruit. It is a rare treasure that is hard to find in 1,000 years, but Fu Anshan did not find out what kind of effects it has. How could he not find out? Qin Feiyong frowned. I heard from Fu Anshan that there are no detailed records in the ancient book beside the pavilion master of the trading pavilion. It only has a rough idea. Yan Wei said. Lu Hong said in surprise. From the looks of it, this 5 colors glass fruit is still a little mysterious? I think so too. Yan Wei nodded, then looked at Qin Feiyong and said, I will think of a way to investigate again, and try to give you a satisfactory answer. Just do what you can, don't force yourself. Qin Feiyong smiled. Then his eyes suddenly focused. He carefully looked at Yan Wei and said in surprise, did you break through? Yes. A few days ago, I broke through and became a 1-star combat emperor. Yan Wei rubbed his head, looking a little embarrassed. Not bad. Now our small team will have a battle emperor to hold the fort. Lu Hong and the others were overjoyed. Qin Feiyong was also overjoyed. The difference between a combat emperor and a combat saint was a watershed. Although a combat saint was considered a top expert in the Forgotten Continent and the Great Qin Empire, In front of the Mu family and the imperial capital, they could not do anything. But a combat emperor was different. Each of the battle monarchs had an important position. Qin Feiyang smiled. Continue to work hard. When I return from Qinghai, I hope you will have become a 2-star combat emperor. I will. Yan Wei nodded. If it was in the past, he would not have dared to say such words. In the past, he did not even dare to hope that he would be able to become a 1-star combat emperor in this lifetime. But now, he had opened the door of potential and was reborn. The combat emperor was no longer his goal, nor was it his destination. His current goal was the war god. And he would never forget who gave him all of this. Therefore, he was now completely loyal to Qin Feiyang. Suddenly, Yan Wei seemed to have thought of something and said, "Oh right, there's one more thing I need to tell you." "What is it?" Qin Feiyang asked. Yan Wei said, "Fatso is in trouble." What kind of trouble could he be in? Qin Feiyang frowned. Hasn't Fatso been chasing after Chu Xian? However, I don't know how Chu Xian's parents found out about this matter. Right now, they are threatening and tempting him to stop harassing Chu Xian. Yan Wei said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood, his brows relaxed and laughed. Are they looking down on Fatso? I've asked Fatso, but he didn't say anything. He even said that he could handle it himself and didn't need us to interfere. However, I guess that Chu Xian's parents don't look down on Fatso. After all, everyone knows about the relationship between Fatso and you, so they can't wait to curry favor with you. I reckon that it should be related to his size. Yan Wei guessed, his expression strange. Heard of it? Everyone laughed. Fatso's body was indeed a huge problem. However, this was innate, so there was nothing they could do about it. Regarding this matter, they were indeed unable to help. They could only rely on Fatso's sincerity to move Chu Xian's parents. Qin Feiyang looked at Yan Wei and asked, "Is there anything else?" "No." Yan Wei shook his head. "All right then, stay by Fu Anshen's side and be careful," Qin Feiyang reminded. "I know." After Yan Wei finished speaking, the virtual image quickly dissipated. Qin Feiyang also put away the image crystal. Outside, the gorgeous woman and others were still looking for Qin Feiyang, while the black-robed old man kept cursing, trying to provoke Qin Feiyang to go out. But obviously, he underestimated Qin Feiyang's temperament. What hadn't Qin Feiyang seen before? How could such a trivial matter make him angry? Buzz. After a while, Qin Feiyang's image crystal made a sound again. He was slightly stunned, looked at Lu Hong and others and said, "It should be a message from Mr. Hao. You guys retreat to the side." Everyone quickly retreated to a corner. As expected, when Qin Feiyang took out the image crystal, Mr. Hao's virtual image immediately appeared. However, on his face, there was no joy of escaping, only anxiety and worry. Wolf King secretly said, "Although this guy is useless, he is really sincere to little Qin Zi." Lu Hong and others nodded, because everyone could see that Mr. Hao was worried about Qin Feiyang. Mr. Hao frowned and said, "Where are you now? Why do you seem to be in a cultivation room?" Qin Feiyang smiled calmly and said, "Just now I accidentally found a secret room at the bottom of the sea, and now I'm hiding in it." "What about you?" Mr. Hao breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "That's good. We are also hiding in a cave on an island." Qin Feiyang looked behind Mr. Hao and asked suspiciously, "Where are Wang Zicheng and Wang Yu? Why don't I see them?" "They are outside learning about the island. By the way, where are Viper's minions?" Mr. Hao asked. "They are still guarding outside," Qin Feiyang said. "Then I'll give you the coordinates. You can use the portal to teleport here." After saying that, Mr. Hao gave the coordinates to Qin Feiyang. "Have you forgotten? Wang Zicheng said that the portal can't be opened in the inland sea," Qin Feiyang said. "Besides, it was impossible to open the portal in this castle." "Yes, I'm so forgetful." Mr. Hao patted his head. "Well, I happen to have something to do now. You go to the birthplace of the elixir fire first. When I'm done, I'll rush to meet you." Qin Feiyang said. "Something else?" Mr. Hao was stunned and said helplessly, "You are really a busy man. Well, I'll send you a message when we arrive at the birthplace of the elixir fire." "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded, then turned off the image crystal and lowered his head, lost in thought. Isn't it his first time in Qinghai? Why is he so busy? At the same time, in the cave, Mr. Hao also lowered his head and pondered. Thud, after a short while, Wang Yuer and Wang Zicheng entered the cave one after the other with the sound of footsteps. Wang Zicheng looked at Mr. Hao and asked, "How is it? Did you get in touch with him?" "Yes. He's out of danger. But he still has something to deal with. He asked us to go to the birthplace of the elixir fire first," Mr. Hao said honestly. This, Wang Zicheng was dumbfounded. Not to mention the group of battle saints, Black Snake alone was enough to make any 9-star battle saint feel despair. However, this guy, who was only a 2-star battle saint, managed to escape. Wasn't it too unbelievable? Wang Yuer was also shocked. It was not easy to escape from 2 battle emperors. How did this bastard do it? She looked at Mr. Hao and asked, "Did he say anything?" "No." Mr. Hao shook his head. "Bastard." Wang Yuer immediately scolded him angrily. After Wang Zicheng came to his senses, he glanced at Mr. Hao and Wang Yuer and mumbled, "It seems that Ancestor Mu doesn't trust these 2 people very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't hide everything from them." But here's the problem. Wang Yuer is his fiancé. How can there be someone in this world who doesn't trust his fiancé? What's the relationship between these 2 people? The more Wang Zicheng thought about it, the more curious he became. Wang Yuer noticed Wang Zicheng's gaze. She immediately frowned and said, "What are you looking at?" "Nothing. I'm just thinking that it doesn't matter what happens to him as long as he's out of danger, right?" Wang Zicheng said. The 2 nodded. Wang Zicheng said, "Then let's go. We'll wait for him at the birthplace of the elixir fire." Whoosh! Immediately. Chapter 10:27. Inside the castle. Seeing Qin Feiyong pondering, Lu Hong asked, "What are you thinking about?" Qin Feiyong pondered and said, "I'm thinking, should we ask Yan Wei to help us fight our way out?" "That's not necessary. If they want to wait, then let them wait. We won't lose anything anyway. What's more, we can't directly teleport here. If we ask Yan Wei to help, we still have to wait. By the time Yan Wei arrives, these people will have already lost their patience and left. After all, they don't know the situation inside the castle." Lu Hong said. "That makes sense." Qin Feiyong nodded. Wolf King suddenly said, "Actually, we can ask Mu Qing." "Ask him." Qin Feiyong was stunned. "Yes. The Mu Jia has a space-time gate. Maybe they can directly teleport here. It just so happens that Mu Qing can also bring some people over to slaughter that stinking snake," Wolf King said. The winged snow eagle coldly snorted. "Asking the Mu Jia for help is too shameful. You don't understand. This has nothing to do with face. It's called using the resources around you." Wolf King despised. The pangolin nodded. "I agree with Brother Wolf's suggestion. Let the Mu Jia and the snake fight first, then we can reap the benefits." "You're too simple-minded. With the strength of the Mu Jia, what can that stinking snake do? I'm afraid it will be killed before it even starts." The winged snow eagle disdainfully said. Qin Feiyong glanced at everyone and smiled. "What you said is reasonable, but what the eagle said is more realistic. Let's wait. Anyway, the alchemy fire hasn't been born yet. It doesn't matter if they wait a little longer. He can also take the opportunity to cultivate and try to break through to the 3-star battle saint." Time flew. The next morning, Qin Feiyong received a message from young Master Hao. The 3 of them have arrived at the birthplace of the alchemy fire. But there are no signs of the alchemy fire being born. After Qin Feiyong learned about the situation, he asked them to wait there and inform him when the alchemy fire is about to be born. As for Black Snake, Red Snake, and the others, their search was fruitless and they left on the same day. Qin Feiyong continued to cultivate. In a flash, 2 months passed. This morning, his calm aura suddenly, there was a violent fluctuation. Boom! Immediately, a terrifying holy aura rushed out of his body. Breakthrough again so fast? Lu Hong, Wolf King, and the other beasts opened their eyes and looked at Qin Feiyong in shock. If he remembered correctly, The last time Qin Feiyong made his breakthrough, he was together with Wang Zicheng and that robust young man. Only 3 months. Only 3 months. To break through from a 2-star battle saint to a 3-star battle saint in just 3 months. Wasn't this speed a little too outrageous? Yeah. For example, Wolf King, who cultivated in seclusion in the castle all day, was only a 2-star battle saint. The double-winged snow eagle had already broken through to the battle saint realm when they were in the 9 districts. But now, he had just become a 3-star battle saint. After calculating, Qin Feiyong's speed was indeed twice as fast as theirs. Is the purple gold dragon blood really so powerful? Swoosh. After a while, Qin Feiyong opened his eyes. 2 rays of bright light burst out of his eyes. The aura he emitted was also restrained. However, not only was he not happy about this breakthrough, but he also frowned. He remembered that it only took him 2 months to break through from a 1-star battle saint to a 2-star battle saint. But now, it took him 3 months to break through from a 2-star battle saint to a 3-star battle saint. In other words, the higher the level, the longer the time needed in the future. It was hard to imagine how long it would take to break through from an 8-star battle saint to a 9-star battle saint. Of course, this situation was very normal. Because no matter if it was a warrior, a battle king or a battle emperor, the higher the star level, the longer the time needed. But at this rate, the remaining 1 year would not be enough for him to step into the battle emperor realm. Sigh. Why is it that my time is always not enough? Qin Feiyong sighed. Little Qin Zi, let's discuss something. Suddenly, Wolf King came in front of Qin Feiyong and smiled flatteringly. What? Qin Feiyong restrained his emotions and looked at it suspiciously. Wolf King grinned and said, "Brother wants to change blood." Qin Feiyong was stunned. The double-winged snow eagle, Lu Hong and the others were also stunned. Obviously, the white-eyed wolf was jealous. But this kind of thing could not be forced. Qin Feiyong could obtain the purple gold dragon blood because of the Qin Emperor's affection. And they were not the descendants of the Qin Emperor, nor did they have the Qin Emperor's bloodline power. How could they obtain the purple gold dragon blood? Wasn't this wishful thinking? Rather than having unrealistic dreams, it's better to cultivate. Good luck. I will wait for you in front. Qin Feiyong patted Wolf King's head and smiled playfully. He got up, took out the water avoidance pearl, and left the castle. Damn. This is simply unreasonable. If you want to be handsome, brother is more handsome than him. If you want to be awesome, brother is also more awesome than him. Why can he get such a great fortune, but brother can't? Wolf King was indignant. Lu Hong and the others rolled their eyes. A wolf was so narcissistic. Did it know shame? At the bottom of the sea. The sea water was bone-chilling. The traces of sea beasts could be seen everywhere. Qin Feiyong restrained his aura to the extreme, avoided the sea beasts, and swept towards the sea surface. Dozens of breaths passed. Splash. Finally, he swept out of the sea surface and stood above the sea. He glanced around, turned into a stream of light, and sped towards the southwest. But not long after, he was heavily surrounded. It was the sea beasts that surrounded him. In the past, with the Sage Kingship and the 2 9-star battle saints, Wang Yue and Wang Zicheng, the sea beasts could not get close to him. Now that he was alone, he naturally could not be so relaxed. Fortunately, he had broken through to the 3-star battle saint. Fortunately, the beasts he encountered so far were not too strong, and he could barely kill his way through. But as time passed, he began to feel tired and his body was covered in wounds. But he did not ask for help. Because ever since he entered the Central Divine Kingdom, he had not fought seriously. It was not that he had become lazy, but that he did not dare to. Because he did not dare to use many methods, once he used them, his identity would be exposed. Boom! Splash! Roar! At this moment, Qin Feiyong had completely released himself. The purple gold dragon blood, the red sword chi, the flaming battle chi, and various perfect battle arts were frequently used. The more he fought, the braver he became, and the more he killed, the more energetic he became. The blood in his body seemed to be boiling, and he spilled blood all the way. Finally, he transformed into a fighting machine, crazily killing without exhaustion. Wherever he went, there were floating corpses everywhere, and the sea was dyed red. Roar! Suddenly, Accompanied by a loud roar, a huge monster rushed out of the sea. Qin Feiyong's head was buzzing, and his eardrums were almost shattered. That sea beast was a king-snapping turtle. Its body was several tens of meters long, and it resembled a lofty mountain. It emitted a frightening oppressive power. Like an invisible tide, it pounced toward Qin Feiyong with earth-shattering momentum. Qin Feiyong could not see through its cultivation, but judging from its aura, it should not be lower than a 6-star battle saint. He could fight it. He used the phantom steps, and like a god of war, he stepped toward the king-snapping turtle step by step. Clang! The red sword chi surged and turned into a flaming sword shadow, and with a sharp edge that could destroy the world, it slashed toward the turtle. Clang! Accompanied by a loud sound, the sword shadow slashed on the king-snapping turtle's shell, and sparks flew everywhere as if it had slashed on divine iron. Roar! The next moment, accompanied by a painful howl, the king-snapping turtle's huge body was cut in half on the spot, and blood poured down like a waterfall. Qin Feiyong did not stop, and directly passed through the king-snapping turtle's body. Bathed in the rain of blood, his fighting spirit was soaring. Next, the sea beasts he encountered were all 6-star battle saints and above. Although he killed them one by one, his injuries were getting more and more serious. There were even a few times when his sea of chi and heart were almost injured. Time flew. 4 hours passed. He had also been killing for 4 hours. An island came into sight. Qin Feiyong took a healing pill and prepared to enter the island to rest. However, just as he killed his way out of the encirclement of the sea beasts and was about to enter the island, there was an explosion of shocking saint aura on the island. Whoosh! Following closely, one by one, burly men rushed out from the island, and their aura shook the sea. "It's you guys." Qin Feiyong's face instantly darkened. "We guessed that you would go to the birthplace of the alchemy fire, so we waited for you here." Accompanied by a hoarse voice, an old man in a black robe walked out from the crowd and looked coldly at Qin Feiyong. That's right. This person was Black Snake. Qin Feiyong glanced at them one by one and frowned. "Where's Hongxi?" The old man in the black robe grinned. "She wanted to compete with me to see who's lucky enough to catch you first, so she brought people to another island to wait. Now it seems that my luck is obviously better." Qin Feiyong heaved a sigh of relief. Only the old man in the black robe alone was not that difficult to deal with. "Give up." The old man in the black robe's eyes flickered. "Are you joking?" Qin Feiyong smiled coldly and decisively activated the concealment art. He used the phantom steps and quickly retreated. He disappeared again? What's going on? The old man in the black robe was bewildered. The group of burly men behind him were also in disbelief. "Little bastard, what kind of man are you to hide? If you have the guts, come out and fight face to face." The old man in the black robe was mad with hatred. This was not the first or second time. He felt like a clown, being played around by the other party. Emperor's aura erupted like a volcano, sweeping in all directions. The sea instantly boiled, setting off huge waves hundreds of feet high. But this time, because Qin Feiyong retreated at the first moment, the concealment art was not broken by the old man in the black robe. He stood far away in the void, looking at the crazy old man in the black robe silently. He was waiting for the time to counterattack. Time passed breath by breath. About a few hundred breaths passed. The old man in the black robe finally withdrew his Emperor's aura, took out Viper 3, and shouted to the group behind him, "Let's go and meet up with Hongxi. It's time for you to die." Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with killing intent. Like a poisonous snake bearing its fangs, he silently approached the old man in the black robe. The old man in the black robe was recovering Viper 3 and did not notice at all. Chapter 1028. Just as Viper number 3 was fully recovered, Qin Feiyong flew to the black-robed old man's side. Without hesitation, he took out the Chong Shui and stabbed the back of the black-robed old man's head from behind. The black-robed old man's head was directly penetrated, and his sea of consciousness and soul were instantly shattered. "Ah!" Accompanied by a shrill scream, the black-robed old man died on the spot. His angry eyes were filled with horror. Lord Black Snake. The group of burly men was dumbfounded. Qin Feiyong took out the Chong Shui and quietly retreated again. Bang! The black-robed old man fell on the deck, and blood spurted out from between his eyebrows and the back of his head. Lord! After the group of burly men came to their senses, they immediately surrounded the black-robed old man, and their faces were filled with panic. Why did this happen? Ancestor Mu did not appear, so why did he suddenly die? This concealment art is really a killing weapon. Qin Feiyong stood in the air, looking down at the group of burly men and muttering to himself. Without the concealment art, even if he used all his trump cards, he would not be able to kill the black-robed old man. No. He could not even hurt a hair on the black-robed old man. He could not even get close to the black-robed old man. Although the concealment art was only a perfect battle technique, in his opinion, it was more practical than the Divine Dragon technique and the six-word Divine technique. Prepare to despair. Qin Feiyong whispered, turned into a stream of light, and swooped down, landing behind the two burly men. Clang! The Chong Shui suddenly attacked, and it was invincible. It instantly pierced through the heads of the two men. Where are you? Come out quickly, don't hide in the dock and attack us. Everyone on the ship went crazy. Not only could they not see him, they could not even detect his aura. There was no way they could fight back. This is too scary. A thin middle-aged man roared in horror and left Viper number 1, fleeing into the void in the distance without looking back. Everyone was already in a state of panic, but when they saw the middle-aged man running away, they all broke down. They all fled in a panic, not even caring about the sacred artifact, Viper number 3. However, the god of death descended once again. With a flash, the head of the skinny middle-aged man who was the first to escape was immediately separated from his body. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Looking at this scene, everyone's body and mind trembled. They were in extreme despair. Don't run! Come back! A slightly older man roared. That's right. We're like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. We'll only die faster if we flee like this. Another burly man anxiously roared. Everyone shuddered and returned to the deck of Viper number 3. Don't panic. Hurry up and send a message to Lord Hongxi. Before Lord Hongxi arrives, let's gather together and be careful. That's right. As long as we don't disperse, he won't be able to take advantage of us. The old man and the burly man shouted. Everyone quickly gathered around the two, and the big man immediately took out an image crystal to send a message to the gorgeous woman. However, just as he took out the image crystal, a bloody hole appeared on his head, and he fell to the ground dead. Damn it! It's useless. The crowd that had just gathered immediately panicked again. Don't run around. There will be a way. Everyone, think carefully. The old man roared. Just as he roared, another 5 people lost their lives. The remaining people had no choice but to gather around the old man again. Both their faces and eyes were filled with helplessness. I have an idea. Suddenly, the old man's eyes lit up. His battle aura burst out and formed a barrier that enveloped the entire Viper number 3. No matter how terrifying he is, he's only a 2-star battle saint. He can't break through this defensive barrier. As long as we stay here, he can't do anything to us. The old man said. Someone immediately said, you're wrong. He's not a 2-star battle saint. He's a 3-star battle saint. What? Wasn't he just a 2-star battle saint the last time I saw him? The old man's gaze trembled. I noticed his cultivation level just now. He's really a 2-star battle saint. That person said again. I noticed it too. Another person followed. A trace of disbelief crept into the old man's eyes as he said, Don't panic. I'm a 9-star battle saint. Even if he's a 3-star battle saint, he can't break through this barrier. Hurry up and inform Lord Hongxi. Immediately, someone took out an image crystal. Outside the barrier, Qin Feiyong looked at the old man and frowned. He didn't expect Viper to have such a powerful subordinate. One had to know. In the face of such a situation, anyone would be at a loss. As for this person, although he was a bit flustered at first, he only panicked for a short while before he quickly calmed down and thought of a countermeasure. Indeed, with this defensive barrier, he couldn't do whatever he wanted like before. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't have a way to break through this defensive barrier. For example, Chong Shui. With Chong Shui's ability, it would be easy for him to break through the barrier. However, if he did so, there would definitely be fluctuations in the barrier. The people inside would be able to detect it immediately and determine his location based on the fluctuations in the barrier. What's the matter? At this moment, the image of the gorgeous woman appeared. She looked at the old man and the group of people and asked coldly, Lord Hongxi, bad news. Ancestor Mu has appeared. He killed Lord Black Snake and many of our brothers. The old man cried out sorrowfully. What? Black Snake is dead. The gorgeous woman's expression suddenly changed. She felt as if she was dreaming. She was very clear about Black Snake's strength. Even a one-star combat emperor of the same realm might not be able to hurt him. However, she was told that he was killed by a two-star combat saint. The old man cried out, Lord Hongxi, please come and save us. We really have no other way. Are you still on that island? The gorgeous woman asked in a low voice. The old man nodded. The gorgeous woman asked, What about Viper number 3? Still here. The old man said. The gorgeous woman said, Quickly sign the blood contract. Don't let Ancestor Mu snatch it away. The old man said, Don't worry. With my defensive barrier, he can't snatch it away. Okay, be careful. I'll bring people over immediately. It'll take at most half an hour. After the gorgeous woman finished speaking, the image quickly dissipated. Ancestor Mu, don't run if you have the guts. Let's see how long you can be arrogant. When Lord Hongxi comes, you'll be dead. The people on Viper number 3 finally heaved a sigh of relief and began to provoke him. Hongxi. Qin Feiyong glanced at those people and his eyes flickered. Hongxi would need half an hour to get here. However, the concealment art could last for half an hour. Perhaps he could find an opportunity to get rid of Hongxi. Oh right. I forgot to tell Lord Hongxi that Ancestor Mu can hide in the void and kill people without leaving a trace. Just as Qin Feiyong had this thought, the people on the ship also thought of it. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but tremble. If Lord Hongxi was assassinated like Lord Black Snake, then they would be completely hopeless. Of course. They could also ask Viper for help. However, the problem was that Viper was a person with a proud personality. Other than the one-eyed dragon, the gorgeous woman, and the black-robed old man, he didn't bother to establish a contract with anyone else. Therefore, as long as these 3 people died, no one would be able to contact Viper. The old man quivered and shouted, Quickly send another message to Lord Hongxi. Tell her to be careful. Hearing the old man's words, Qin Feiyong decisively turned and left because there was no need to continue squatting. Half an hour passed. The concealment art dissipated on its own. Qin Feiyong also found an island and stood on the peak of a mountain. His head was lowered and his expression was uncertain. Viper had completely angered him. If he didn't find Viper to settle this score, he would always be unhappy. Swish! Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his eyes as he took out the image crystal. Bas! Soon, young Master Hao's shadow appeared. Wang Yuer and Wang Zicheng were also beside him. Young Master Hao asked, Are you done? Not yet. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled, then looked at Wang Zicheng and asked, Where is Viper's lair? The 3 of them were stunned. Young Master Hao said in shock, You're not going to find Viper, are you? Qin Feiyong said coldly, I have always been a person who takes revenge, especially those who take the initiative to cause trouble. Ha! The corner of Wang Zicheng's mouth twitched fiercely. If these words were to reach Viper's ears, he would probably be so angry that he would jump up and down. Young Master Hao advised, Brother, although we haven't seen Viper before, we can tell from his subordinates that he is definitely not a kind person. You'd better not be rash. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Qin Feiyong said. You're really stubborn. Young Master Hao shook his head helplessly and didn't try to persuade him anymore. You really want to go? Wang Zicheng asked. Qin Feiyong nodded. Wang Zicheng said, Did you meet Viper's men again? Qin Feiyong said, We were ambushed by them, but Black Snake has already been killed. TSK. A 2-star battle saint killed a 1-star battle emperor. How amazing! Wang Zicheng exclaimed. No, he broke through. Wang Yuer suddenly opened her mouth and looked at Qin Feiyong as if she was looking at a monster. What? Broke through? Young Master Hao and Wang Zicheng were shocked. They couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyong seriously. They wouldn't know if they didn't look, but once they looked, they couldn't help but feel numb. 3 months to break through to 3-star battle saint. Oh my god! How could there be such a ridiculous thing in the world? Was this a dream? Young Master Hao's mood was the worst. When they were in the Divine City, both of them were 1-star battle saints. How long had it been since they came to the Azure Sea? There was a gap of 2 whole stages between the two of them. Young Master Hao said, "Brother, you lied to me at that time, right?" "What do you mean I lied to you?" Qin Feiyong was suspicious. "Don't you remember? When I took you to see my father, you said you had cultivated for more than 100 years. But with your current speed, it's impossible." Young Master Hao said. "So it's about this." Qin Feiyong suddenly understood. He shook his head and said with a smile, "Isn't this for your own good? So that you won't be affected." "Now I'm affected even more." Young Master Hao smiled bitterly. Chapter 1029. Although Qin Feiyong's words were a huge blow to young Master Hao, it also made him recognize himself. It was a good thing. "You really want to go?" Wang Zicheng looked at Qin Feiyong and asked again. Qin Feiyong nodded. No one could change his mind once he made up his mind. Wang Zicheng was too lazy to persuade him. He asked, "Where are you now?" Qin Feiyong shook his head and said, "I'm on a small island. I don't know the name of the island." Wang Zicheng said, "Show me the full view of the island." Qin Feiyong nodded. He grabbed the image crystal and rose into the air. Standing in the air, he pointed the image crystal at the island below. In this way, the full view of the island was clearly displayed in front of Wang Zicheng. Wang Zicheng observed carefully for a moment and said, "I know. It's a nameless island. I've been there before. It's only about 200 li away from the nest of viper." "Which direction?" Qin Feiyong asked. "West. You'll pass by 4 more islands on the way. The 5th island after that is the nest of viper. It's called Viper Island." Viper Island has a very obvious characteristic. It's like a giant python wriggling on the surface of the sea. You have to be careful. Viper Island is not only the gathering place of poisonous insects and monsters in the inland sea, but also the air is filled with a kind of poisonous gas that can paralyze one's nerves. Wang Zicheng warned. "Thank you. After I'm done with this matter, I'll rush over to meet you guys." Qin Feiyong said and was about to put away the image crystal. "Wait. How are you going to deal with him? Are you going to use the invisibility technique?" "If you're going to use the invisibility technique, I advise you to give up. Viper's body is full of poison. With your current cultivation, you won't be able to get close to him," Wang Zicheng said. "If the invisibility technique doesn't work, I have other methods. Anyway, this time, I'll make him disappear from the world forever." Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed coldly. After turning off the image crystal, he looked toward the west. His eyes were filled with a murderous aura. Boom! Suddenly, a shocking killing intent roared out from his body. That murderous aura had already materialized. It was like wisps of blood-colored flames burning around him. At the same time, a bloody glow flickered between his eyebrows, and a bloody red kill character quickly appeared. At this moment, it was as if he had transformed into a god of death. His terrifying killing intent caused even the nearby saint beasts to tremble in despair. That was right. This was the kill character formula. This was also the first time he had activated the kill formula. One could only imagine how much he hated Viper. Qinghai's 10 heroes. Just wait and see. You'll soon know that you don't have the qualifications to dominate this sea. Qin Feiyong mumbled as he activated the phantom steps, stepping into the air step by step. Roar! Several 6-star battle saint sea beasts roared as they rushed out from the sea. Their bloody mouths were wide open, revealing their dense fangs. Boom! Qin Feiyong formed a seal with both hands, and the divine dragon seal appeared, instantly killing them. Thus, a shocking scene unfolded. The blood that flowed out from the sea beasts turned into waves of blood-colored waves, surging towards Qin Feiyong's eyebrows. In the end, all of it was absorbed by the kill character. As the kill character absorbed more and more blood, his aura gradually increased. Kill character formula. I want to see if you can increase one's cultivation by a whole realm. It was recorded in the Iron Book that the essence of the kill character was that it could increase the user's cultivation by a whole realm by continuously absorbing the blood of living creatures. Take a closer look. It was not a small realm, but a whole realm. In other words, Qin Feiyang, who was a battle saint, could forcefully step into the Battle Emperor realm by using the kill character formula. This was a godly formula that defied the natural order. However, whether this was the case or not had yet to be confirmed. Qin Feiyang's long hair danced in the wind. He was like a demon god as he killed his way through. All the sea beasts that blocked his way were buried in the sea. Their blood was completely absorbed, leaving behind dried corpses that floated on the sea surface. Boom! After absorbing the blood of the 50th sea beast, Qin Feiyang's aura suddenly soared to the level of a 4-star battle saint. However, this was just the beginning. Roar! Splash! Rumble! After advancing to the level of a 4-star battle saint, his methods became even more powerful. Those 5-star and 6-star sacred beasts were even more vulnerable. He went berserk with his killing spree. Boom! After absorbing the blood of the 100th sacred beast, his cultivation increased again, stepping into the level of a 5-star battle saint. He stepped on the corpses and blood as he advanced. His entire body was shrouded in a bloody mist. His eyes and black hair were gradually dyed red with blood. He looked like a grim reaper walking in hell. This is too terrifying. Is he a human or a devil? Those sea beasts that usually ran amok in the inner sea felt an indescribable sense of fear in their hearts at this moment. Some sea beasts that had just escaped immediately turned around and fled back into the sea when they saw this situation. Boom! After killing the 200th sea beast, Qin Feiyang's cultivation broke through again, stepping into the level of a battle saint. He felt an unprecedented power. His blood surged and he felt that he could pierce through the sky with a single punch. He is a devil, a malefic star. Run! This part of the sea was boiling. Countless sea beasts jumped up and down, fleeing in fear. A mere human dares to come to the inner sea and cause trouble. You are courting death. An angry roar sounded. A Neptune lion broke through the waves. Its huge body was like a mountain and its ferocious aura was monstrous. It had the cultivation of an 8-star battle saint. Without saying a word, it pounced toward Qin Feiyang. The fangs in its mouth were more than a meter long and were like sharp blades. They flickered with a cold light and were extremely terrifying. If you didn't block my way, would I have killed you? You are courting death. The 4th style of the Ruins of End technique, Ruins of End. Qin Feiyang's expression was extremely cold. He pointed his index finger in the air and an invisible force roared in the sky, killing it in an instant. Blood gushed toward his glabella like a waterfall. The bloody word, kill, between his glabella became even more eye-catching. The murderous aura all over his body became even more shocking. Boom! After absorbing the blood of the 400th Saint Beast, his cultivation had stepped into the level of a 7-star battle saint. At this moment, regardless of whether it was his long hair or his eyes, they had all turned blood red, as if he was bathed in blood. The murderous aura was overwhelming. Do I need so much blood? Qin Feiyang muttered. After absorbing the blood of 50 sea beasts, he had stepped into the level of a 4-star battle saint. After absorbing the blood of 100 sea beasts, he had stepped into the level of a 5-star battle saint. After absorbing the blood of 200 sea beasts, he had stepped into the level of a 6-star battle saint. After absorbing the blood of 400 sea beasts, he had stepped into the level of a 7-star battle saint. This was an exponential increase. And they were all saint beasts. Although the kill technique was heaven-defying, it was indeed too bloody. Furthermore, as he absorbed more and more blood, he gradually lost his mind. This was caused by his murderous aura. The murderous aura had already replaced his consciousness. In the end, he might even lose himself completely and become a demon king who only knew how to kill. Boom! It was unknown how much time had passed. Finally, Qin Feiyang's cultivation had stepped into the level of an 8-star battle saint. This also meant that he had killed a total of 800 sea beasts. Of course, the sea beasts that he killed were basically those that took the initiative to provoke him. At this point, he finally saw the first island that Wang Zicheng had mentioned. The island had a diameter of about half a mile, and there was an extremely powerful aura on the island. A 9-star battle saint. Obviously, there was a 9-star battle saint beast lurking on the island. What? Is he a human? Why does he look like a demon? It was a lion-headed eagle. It was not big in size and was only slightly more than 3 meters long. It had the head of a lion and the body of a falcon. Its fur was bright and shiny like satin. It was the king of this area and ruled over countless sea beasts. However, at this moment, it stood on the peak of a mountain in the middle of the island and looked at Qin Feiyong from afar. Its huge eyes were filled with terror. Whoosh! When Qin Feiyong stepped into the sky above the island, the terrifying murderous aura enveloped the entire area. The lion-headed eagle trembled and quickly turned to flee. Qin Feiyong did not give chase. He glanced at the island coldly and continued to fly forward. Afterward, there were no more sea beasts that dared to block his way. Soon after, the second island that Wang Zicheng had mentioned also entered his line of sight. There was not a single aura of a beast on the island. Qin Feiyong could not help but frown. At this rate, he might not even be able to reach the level of a 9-star battle saint. However, after thinking about it, it did not matter. Although Viper had mastered the forbidden skill, he was only an 8-star battle saint. Although he did not have the forbidden skill, he had mastered 2 divine arts. Whoosh! Without further delay, he used the phantom steps and increased his speed to the maximum, heading straight for Viper Island. He passed by the 3rd island and the 4th island. Finally, Viper Island appeared in front of him. Viper Island covered an area of more than 10 miles. There were undulating mountains and lush greenery on the island. From afar, it really looked like a giant python lurking on the surface of the sea. At the same time, there was a mountain peak in the middle of Viper Island. It was more than 10,000 feet tall and the peak of the mountain was flat and neat. At the peak of the mountain, there was a black ancient castle. There was no one around, making it look mysterious and eerie. However, there was a young man sitting in the ancient castle that was tightly shut. He was about 1.8 meters tall and had a slender figure. He had regular facial features and could be considered a talent. However, his skin was eerily green. Especially his pair of green eyes. They were like a pair of snake eyes that were emitting a cold glow. That's right. This man was Viper, the old venomous creature that struck fear in people. What exactly is this? After studying it for so long, I still have no clue? At this moment, Viper was holding a jade bottle in his hand. There was a red liquid in the bottle. This was the temporary antidote given to him by the green-robed old man. Viper was quite confident in the art of poison refinement. Originally, he wanted to dissect the red liquid and research the real antidote from it. By then, he would no longer be threatened by the green-robed old man. However, after a period of analysis and dissection, he realized that he could not identify the composition of the red liquid. Since he could not identify the composition, he could not concoct the real antidote. This made him very angry. Chapter 10:30. Maybe I'm not careful enough. I need to study it carefully. Viper muttered and poured out a drop of red liquid into his mouth. He closed his eyes and savored it carefully. Whether it was the poison or the antidote, they were all refined from various medicinal herbs. The only difference was whether they were poisonous or not. Therefore, as long as he could figure out which medicinal herbs were used to refine this red liquid, he would definitely be able to concoct the real antidote. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt a terrifying murderous aura coming from afar toward the island. Who's here? He opened his eyes, which were filled with shock. After living for hundreds of years, this was the first time he felt such a strong murderous aura. This murderous aura even terrified him and made him feel hopeless. Swoosh! He suddenly stood up, kept the jade bottle and said coldly, "I'd like to see who has the guts to come to my territory and cause trouble." After saying that, Viper waved his hand and the gate of the ancient castle quickly opened. Whoosh! Then, he turned into a ray of light and flew out of the ancient castle. He stood at the peak of the mountain and looked ahead. Why does he look so familiar? When he saw Qin Feiyong flying toward him from the sky above the sea, a trace of doubt crept between his brows. It's him. Ancestor Mu. Suddenly, he remembered. Wasn't that the person who the green-robed old man wanted to kill? But that wasn't right. Hadn't the black snake and the red snake already dealt with him? Why would he come here? Could it be that the black snake and the red snake failed? Impossible. Both of them were battle emperors, and this ancestor Mu was only a 2-star battle saint. When Viper thought of this, his pupils suddenly shrank. Because he saw Qin Feiyong's cultivation level clearly. 8-star battle saint. What was going on? Viper was dumbfounded. Previously, the green-robed old man had personally said that this person was only a 2-star battle saint. Moreover, previously, the black snake and the red snake failed to kill him on the Devil Island and reported to him that he was indeed only a 2-star battle saint. But how did he suddenly become an 8-star battle saint? Let's talk about Qin Feiyong. Before entering the island, he had already sensed Viper's aura. He raised his head and scanned the island. Very soon, when he saw Viper standing on the peak of the mountain, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Back then, when Wang Zicheng and Viper were communicating via voice transmission, he had seen Viper in person, so he recognized him at a glance. Rumble. Crack. As Qin Feiyong stepped onto Mamba Island, his horrifying holy power and murderous intent turned into huge waves that destroyed everything on the island. It could be described as unstoppable. Wherever he went, mountains would collapse, plants would fly, and the ground would sink. It was like a scene from the end of the world. At the sight of this, a sinister look crept into Viper's eyes as he hollered, "Kill him!" Boom! His voice fell. The entire Mamba Island was filled with ferocious auras. Following closely, rays of light and shadows surrounded Qin Feiyong from all directions. Those shadows were formed by poisonous creatures. Poisonous scorpions, poisonous spiders, poisonous snakes, poisonous frogs. In short, all the poisonous creatures that Qin Feiyong had seen in his life were here. There were also many poisonous creatures that he had never seen before. There were hundreds and thousands of them, and the air was filled with poisonous gas. Moreover, every poisonous insect and every poisonous beast had the cultivation level of a battle sage. This is indeed a nest of poisonous creatures. Even Qin Feiyong could not help but feel his scalp go numb when he saw the densely packed poisonous creatures. Just like what Wang Zicheng had said, every corner of the island was filled with poisonous substances that could not be dissolved. Even the plants and trees were poisonous. It was not an exaggeration to say that. As long as any battle saint in the world entered this island, only death awaited them. However, he was not afraid. Clang! Red sword chi gushed out from his body like a torrent. 10 rays of sword shadows appeared in the blink of an eye, exuding an aura that could destroy the world. Die! As he shouted in a low voice, the sword shadows spread out and slashed in all directions. It was as though a real divine sword had been unsheathed. The ear-piercing sound of the sword resonated and tore the mountains and rivers apart. Chirp, 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 hiss. In an instant, Mamba Island was drowned in all kinds of miserable cries. Hordes of poisonous creatures were smashed into pieces by the peerless aura of the sword shadows. In less than 5 breaths, almost all the poisonous creatures that came from all directions were killed. Their blood dyed the sky red. Qin Feiyong glanced at the blood that was left behind by the poisonous creatures and his eyes flickered. If the kill formula absorbed the blood, his cultivation level would definitely reach the level of a 9-star battle sage. However, he was hesitant. These were all highly poisonous creatures and their blood contained deadly toxins. Would it hurt him if he absorbed the blood? In the end, he gave up on this idea. He was about to fight with Mamba Island and he could not afford to make any mistakes now. Qin Feiyong raised his head and looked at Mamba Island, who was standing on the peak of the mountain. He said coldly, "Don't you think you can stop me with these poisonous creatures? Aren't you too naive?" Mamba Island's face darkened and he said coldly, "What happened to your cultivation level? I'll tell you when you kneel down at my feet." Qin Feiyong took a step forward and left a trail of afterimages as he dashed toward the peak of the mountain. Perfect auxiliary combat art. Mamba Island's pupils contracted. When the green-robed old man asked him to kill this person, he had already expected that this person was not simple. He did not expect it to be true. A perfect auxiliary combat art was not something that an ordinary person could possess. However, this was nothing in front of him. Mamba Island. I don't know why Black Snake and Red Snake failed. However, once you enter Mamba Island, don't even think about leaving this place alive. Mamba Island stepped on the void and said coldly as he walked toward Qin Feiyang. That was also a perfect auxiliary combat art. At the same time, his aura spread out bit by bit like the sign of a volcano eruption. Boom! When the holy aura of an 8-star battle sage was fully released, the entire island shook violently. Even the void was shaking and twisting. Qin Feiyang was also emitting an imposing aura that shook the heavens. It was as though the heavens and earth could no longer contain him. Two young men with similar appearances. Although they did not look strong at this moment, they were like two towering mountains. At this moment, time seemed to have slowed down. Both of them were moving at a fast speed. After all, both of them had used perfect auxiliary combat arts. However, the process seemed to take a long time. It seemed as though a few centuries had passed before both of them crossed the void and met each other. Both of them did not speak and the island fell into a dead silence. However, this dead silence did not last long. Kill. Both of them seemed to have discussed this beforehand. They growled at the same time and charged toward each other at the same time. When both of their fists met, the heavens and earth were silent. Boom. However, at the next moment, a loud, deafening sound suddenly exploded. Both of them trembled and took a few steps back. Their faces were pale. That's right. This is the strength of an 8-star battle sage. The information can't be wrong. He must have used some shocking means. Could it be a forbidden technique as well? However, there is a gap of 6 small realms between a 2-star battle sage and an 8-star battle sage. What kind of forbidden technique can achieve this? Viper was shocked and his eyes were filled with disbelief. At the same time, Qin Feiyang lowered his head and looked at his fist. His eyebrows were tightly knitted together. He saw that there was a layer of green mist on his fist. It was like gangrene attached to his bones. Not only was it impossible to get rid of, but it also flowed along his arm and entered his body. This was the poison on Viper's body. He was a poisonous creature. As long as one came into contact with his body, the poison would immediately stick to his body. Indeed, he is not simple. However, it's not impossible. As long as I don't fight with him naked. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at Viper as he muttered to himself. With a thought, a crimson sword aura soared into the sky and turned into a 1,000-foot sword shadow. It was as sharp as a giant mountain. Viper's pupils contracted again. He clapped his hands and said with a smile, "Not only do you have perfect auxiliary combat arts, but you also have perfect offensive combat arts. How dare you challenge me?" Challenge you? You think too highly of yourself. Look carefully. I'm not challenging you. I'm going to crush you. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with disdain. With a wave of his hand, the 1,000-foot sword shadow pierced through the sky and slashed toward Viper. Arrogant. Even Wang Zicheng and the others wouldn't dare to say such arrogant words in front of me. Who do you think you are? Venom Snake was enraged. A green stream of air gushed out of his body like a flood from an open dam. This was his battle chi. Just like him, his battle chi also contained a lethal poison. You're not the only one who has perfect combat arts. He roared furiously. His battle chi quickly condensed into a giant python in the air. Its size was more than 1,000 feet long. Its entire body was covered with green snake scales. Its eyes were as big as a dustpan and they shone with a bone-chilling light. Crush it. Viper angrily pointed at the sword shadow. Hiss. The giant python immediately bared its fangs and dragged its mountain-like body toward the sword shadow. Rumble. Crack. The two giant objects collided with each other. Like fireworks, the sky was filled with flames. At the same time, a destructive stream of air gushed out in all directions like a torrent of ferocious beasts. In less than 3 breaths' time, the entire Viper Island was torn apart and swallowed by the raging waves. You've destroyed my home. I'll kill you. Viper was completely enraged. Using his perfect auxiliary combat arts, he charged toward Qin Feiyang crazily. I'm not only going to destroy Viper Island. I'm going to destroy you too. Qin Feiyang sneered. He executed his phantom steps to the extreme. As he retreated, he maintained a certain distance from Viper and used the ultimate skill. Ultimate skill. Suddenly, he raised his arm and pointed at the sky. An invisible force covered the sky and caused huge waves to rise from the sea below. Another perfect slaughter combat art. Viper's heart trembled when he sensed the danger brought by the invisible force. How many tricks does this person have? You're scared already? Then kneel down and beg for mercy. Otherwise, I'll waste my time attacking you. Qin Feiyang said. Arrogant. Continue to be arrogant. Let's see how long you can be arrogant. Viper's face was ferocious. His battle chi surged to the sky. Accompanied by a dragon's roar, a green poisonous dragon appeared. The first style of the poisonous dragon incantation, Poisonous Dragon's Light. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.